It's good to be back here. I'm your host, Patrick, Bet, David.
Ladies or gentlemen, we're live.
Are we really? So you're the opening voice? Is that what it is moving forward? Did you just hire yourself? Did you just hire yourself walking around restaurants, bumping into women, pissing them off? Oh, what a David. I know we got 135 watching today. Keep this in mind that we're doing it on this channel. We are officially in Florida.
Do we want to tell them what city we're in? Or
we can tell them what city we're in. We are in Boca Raton. With our good friend who is back, Biz Doc, a.k.a. Tom Ellsworth, not the other way around. Biz Doc, also known as Tom Ellsworth. And our guest today is my friend, Steve Murphy. We got Gerard Michaels on with us. Special guest, Adam's best friend in the world, Ricky Aguilar. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
What's up, Kevin? The one and only Ronan from Call of Duty, a.k.a. Tulane. We have a special guest today, Michael Francis. We have Sammy de Bulgravano here with us today. Bernard Carrick, John Stossel, David Harris Jr. David, how you doing? Tom Zenner in the house.
We're back.
We have our good friend Daniel DeMartino Booth here with us.
Morning.
Phil Heath just walks in. Come on in, Phil.
Making an entrance. That's how you make an entrance.
Here you go. The one and only Chaz Palminteri, a.k.a. Sonny.
The first thing... Ooh.
What is a soy boy?
Yeah.
So
I found that
out. You should search that on YouTube instead of doing it here. Media, not media. Media. Yeah, media matters.
Oh, Kai from Norway.
T-H-U-R. Kai, T-H-U-R.
Kai.
Oh my gosh, Kai, just type in. You tell Kai to type A, he types B.
He's just sleeping over there. It's a great.
You said type Superman, he types in Batman.
Unbelievable.
Kai, Epstein, not okay, it's going to be all right, buddy. What is this?
Happy birthday, Patrick Bet David.
Happy birthday to Patrick. Happy birthday to you.
What's your point?
You think she held her nose? Whatever Tom Zenner says, whatever prediction, go the opposite route.
He said Marilyn Monroe was in bed with Bobby Kennedy, and she started yelling my name. What are you smiling about? It might happen to you.
The Chaz, I can't. I got kids. I totally understand that. Don't worry about it. You know, I'm just a little desperate right now. Called all 5 of them, 7 of them up. Wow. And I asked them for money. Boom. As soon as I got the check, they couldn't ask me for money.
Of course. You Machiavelli down.
You see this right here? This is the crux of all the issues, gentlemen. This right here. She's a Latina from the Bronx, ain't got no booty. That's what's happening here.
Oh, Gerard went there.
She needs to
You're about to be canceled.
Don't do all the drugs now.
Do it later? By the way.
Like your opinion, man.
Lincoln once said, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet." Lincoln said that. I don't know if you guys know that. That's a very factual quote.
It's true. It's true.
By the way, YouTube, we're joking.
If he came out and he was like, and they were like, "Why did you go to outer space?" And he was like, "'Cause I could, bitches." Right. I'd been like, "This is the coolest dude on earth."
Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. David, tell us yes or no, because it's your turn. We are...
Gentlemen, we're live.
We're live. 100 episodes. We're doing this, guys. We made it to 100. We got Biz Doc in the house, Tom Ellsworth. We got Zenner.
Good morning.
Gerard Michaels with an incredible jacket, by the way. You brought that out for today.
I found it at a truck stop thrift shop.
I like it.
Really?
By the way, is that in your pocket? Is that a panties or what is that? It doesn't look like handkerchief. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yo.
We got Ricky TCO Aguilar in the house from Bakersfield.
Stop, baby.
And then we got Adam Sosnick, Soy Boy, here
good.
as well.
Thank you.
You got it, buddy. You need a massage after that
I feel
video.
like I'm going to need some comforting after this.
Hey, so this is a special event. We're going to do this 3 hours, okay? This is not going to be a 2-hour session. This will be a 3-hour session.
Let's do it.
And this 3-hour session that we have here, we got some giveaways. We're going to give away a PS5 fully with the whole joystick and all the additional stuff that comes with it. I think it's like $1,000. We got some Monte Cristo cigars we'll give away. We got a brand spanking new iPhone 13. We may do some special stuff, sign books. Who knows? A lot of different things. Couple rules you need to know is to participate in the bigger giveaways It's a $20 super chat. If you participate in the $20 super chat, you'll be going into the giveaway with the PS5, the iPhone 13, the Monte Cristo, and who knows, maybe other things I will do as well. And by the way, we may actually have some of the people that are the biggest super chats call in. Who knows? We may just have them call in onto the 100 podcast. So we got a lot of things to talk about. Before we talk about this, Adam, I think you go way back on this podcast. No? Is this a sentimental moment for you? Is this an emotional? You're a guy, I see you cry a lot in your office. You're one of those guys.
This is, look, you know, they say that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I remember we started with podcast 1, before it was even the PBD podcast. And enjoy putting in the work. And we've hit 100,000 subscribers, 100 episodes. We got the gang back. Gerard got some panties in his pocket. Life's good.
Very impressive. George, can we lower the audio a little bit? Are you guys loud on yours as well, or is it just me? It seems like a little echoey, or no? Little echoey.
You got me?
Perfect. Much better. So, Adam, I think one of the most common questions everyone's asking me right now from all over the place, people around the world want to know, how was that cat convention you went last week? Was it as memorable as...
It was the inaugural cat conference. I mean, Gerard, you were going to come with me, but you elected to stay here and work on, your special project.
There's going to be a lot of put there and
problematic situations, I think, are going on. But look, some people are dog guys. Some people are cat men. Yep. I'm the cat daddy, so... It worked out well.
Was it what you expected, though? Was it impressive?
It was actually way too many men at the cat conference.
Can you tell, by the way, a bunch of super chats coming in, $20. Let me give some shout out here to people. Jesse Jimenez, Juan Garcia, John, it's like Madonna, just one name. John, Gino Avery, Jason Rapisatera, TBC Racing 21, J Mile High gave $100, Horrific Scores gave 20, Alex gave 50. Holy moly, it's on fire right now. Enrique gave 20, Jaime Suarez 20, Nabil Gadzar gave 20. But this is the more important question. Your mom actually followed the podcast when I was talking about cat convention. What did your mom called you and said what?
My mom, who calls me 100 times a day, genuinely asked me. For the record, I was at a business conference in Dallas. I can't leave.
But the fact that he has to clarify.
Yeah, my mom goes.
What's great.
No one believes him now that he went to a business
My
convention.
actual mom is like, "What are you doing at a cat conference? I don't. You go to these things? Yeah, Mom, I'm at a cat conference."
You're an embarrassment to the family.
Yeah, exactly.
You're embarrassed.
I thought you were going to be a rabbi, and now you're a cat conference boy. Okay. But I got a lot of love at an insurance conference for being on Valuetainment. A lot of insurance people
follow the
podcast, follow you, know you.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So you're going to be okay. I think you've made your mark in the insurance world. You said 20 years strong, and you're doing it.
In the insurance industry. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Shout out for you as well, man. Last night we did a small little show in Fort Lauderdale at Gatsby's, little comedy show. And packed through the roof, man. 75 in a 60-person venue, all Valuetainers, man. Got to give a shout out to Henry and Ruggs, especially Riggs. I'm sorry, RIGS came out, showed like real love, man. Valuetainers came out strong to Gatsby's last night. It was dope.
I love the fact that when you go, they show up, man, to give you love. When you go in and doing your stuff, they show up to give you love. Yeah. No matter where you go, I love when the love is being given by Valuetainers.
Going on too, like today, my Uber driver Julio Nolasco from Dominican Republic. He says,
you know his last name?
Yeah, because he gave me his card.
Oh, okay,
he
gotcha.
Says, where are you going? I said, I'm gonna go do the the podcast. This guy's weird.
You know the help's last name?
I know, like, come on, bro. He's a human. He's not a dog. You know what I mean? Like, I know. Like,
well, they just show the one name. Hector's picking you up.
He gave me his card. So anyway,
he wants you to start doing some deals.
That makes sense how you vote. So anyway, point is this that so he's dropping me off.
5 minutes into it.
Fucking go, Ricky. Let's fucking bring it on.
He's dropping me off, and he says, "Oh, where am I taking you? Where am I taking you?" I said,
"The penitentiary."
I'm gonna do the podcast. Well, that was 13 years ago, but he says that's not an Uber driver, by the way. That has a cage in it. But anyway, it's a podcast.
He knows.
He's like, oh yeah, there's because he was talking about Bernie Sanders. So we were talking about politics, and he says, oh, Bernie Sanders says that tax the rich, and he says a millionaire guy, he's here from Florida, that I follow since 2016, retweeted him. I said, oh, who is it? And I already knew it was you. Patrick, this, and we're talking. I said, actually, where you're dropping me off is where we're going to do the podcast. He says, no way. I said, that was pretty cool. So he's been following the contest 2016. He was telling me he's a Dominican Republic Uber driver, private driver. So shout out to Julio, man. Really cool guy. So it is good to meet people that follow the content. You know what I mean? It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Here's the part, though. It's good to hear people who you would not expect to believe in capitalism that believe in capitalism. By the way, the echo is pretty bad. So I don't know what we're doing about the echo. Which one is it? Where's the echo coming from? Tell us who it is, David.
They're probably leaving the lavs on.
Because of the two lavaliers, it doesn't sound as bad to the audience.
Doesn't sound as bad to the audience. If the audience is happy, I'm okay. That's all I care about. You're saying yes, the audience is okay. Okay.
It sounds like we're coming to you live from your garage.
Doesn't it? Live from Patrick's garage.
Okay, by the way, we've had a bunch of people already give the $20 super chat. So I think I want to do something right off the bat. So, Sam, if you want to prepare it before we get into the topics, I'm going to read some of the topics. You prepare some of that stuff for the super chat, and then after the first topic, we'll do the first super chat.
Yeah, we had a 50. We had a 50 in the super chat.
We had 100. We had a few 50s. By the way, some people are putting $19.99. Those are guys who were in sales. It's like $19.99. Okay, so
and they wrote today only.
All right, so here we go. The stories that we got. First of all, we got to cover what's going on with Meta, Facebook. Absolute insanity because world is about to change dramatically. It's about to change. We're probably going to talk about that a lot. American shrinking workforce, a puzzle for economists, a math teacher. This is Adam's favorite story, is hosting his lessons on Pornhub to market his tutoring services for college students. That's how we found out about the story. Adam was looking at some of his courses, and then he said, let's add this to the story. Scottie Pippen confirms he's furious with Michael Jordan after the last dance. Shaq had a message for his kids. He says, kids, I'm rich. We're not rich.
Not you.
Coca-Cola buys full control of BodyArmor for $5.6 billion in its largest ever brand acquisition. I think paying out Kobe $400 million. Zenner did a story on that on VTPost.com. Cigarette sales increased in 2020 for the first time in 2 decades. I thought that would have never happened.
They still make those?
Cigarette sales increased first time in the last 20 years. Fantastic. Whatever you guys did is much better now. Last night, obviously, with the governor, Republican Glenn Youngkin, who defeated Terry McAuliffe in a high-stakes Virginia governor election. We got a lot to talk about there. I know you got stuff to say about that. Gerard's got stuff to say about that. Marine veteran Winsome Sears gave one of the best speeches, becoming the first female and woman of color elected as Virginia's lieutenant governor. Murphy inches ahead in Jersey's tight governor race, which Gerard is very happy about. Former NYPD Captain Eric Adams elected mayor of New York City. Outrage at 400 VIP jets converge on Glasgow for global warming summit. What an incredible, noble people that show up in their private jets. Pilot under investigation for saying "Let's go, Brandon." You know, I still don't know what "Let's go, Brandon" means. By the way, I don't know if you guys know or not. I still don't know what it means during announcement. Southwest Airlines says Treasury Secretary Yellen breaks with Biden and says Democrats should consider lifting debt limit without GOP help. I don't want to play chicken anymore. And she promises $2.8 trillion in spending proposals will push inflation down. Biden reportedly pooped his pants at the Vatican. We don't know if this is confirmed or not, but Gerard has some sources that says this may have been pretty accurate. We'll have him share that story with us. Elon Musk warns Austin, Texas not to become like a copycat liberal city, and California City considers offering the highest minimum wage in the nation. Can't survive it. In-N-Out Burger in Florida, CFO trying to entice them from leaving California to come to Florida. And I had some comments on that, and Fortnite is shutting down in China. We may even talk about China is constructing 300 possible missile silos, which could make its nuclear arsenal bigger than Russia or America. Having said that, let's get into the first story. The first story is cigarette sales increased in 2020 for the first time in 2 decades. If you want to go to page 4 right there. Let me read this to you, and then we'll get into it. Ricky, I'll come to you first with this one. Cigarette sales increased in 2020 for the first time in 2 decades. More Americans bought cigarettes in 2020, according to a report by the Federal Trade Commission. The increase happened during the pandemic. Stressors such as a pandemic, lockdowns, remote learning, and stay-at-home lifestyles may have contributed to the increase in tobacco purchase. According to the report, manufacturers sold close to 1 billion more cigarettes in 2020 compared to 2019. Cigarette use isn't the only thing that increased. The use of e-cigarettes and vape pens increased in 2022. Between February 2020 and March 2021, e-cigarette sales increased from almost 15 million to 22 million units. Ricky, what do you got to say about this?
You know, I have a buddy of mine that's a smoker, right? He's been a smoker for 10 years. And he went from smoking 1 pack a day to smoking 2 packs a day because of the stress he was under in 2020. Because he got laid off, you know, and all that. So that's one. And then, you know, we're all human. Naturally, I think in 2020, I had seen the e-cigarettes. I had never really paid attention to them. And and somebody had them. They're like, "Oh, it's like cigarettes, but it's not cigarettes, right?" I don't know, but it has tobacco in it. And that's the first time I had ever been like curious about it because I'm not a smoker, you know. But even a person like me, I feel like I'm pretty strong-minded. You still like you try to find like a source. I mean, I have ADHD and I'm an Aries, so it's a bad combination. So you're always trying to find a way to relieve stress. So I totally can see, apart from seeing it firsthand with my friends that are smokers, doubling their smoking habits. Even myself, I'm like, huh? Oh, because he had told me, the person that told me the e-cigarettes, like, it helps you relieve stress. And I said, wow, that sounds like a good idea. But obviously, it didn't go down that route. But just the idea that it sparked, just the spark itself, I'm sure that out of those billion new cigarettes, not all of them are former smokers. I'm sure a lot of them are new smokers that picked up the habit during the pandemic from the stress.
Let me ask you a question, all of you guys here. How many of you guys, no names, how many of you guys know a lot of people that smoke cigarettes?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
Do you know a lot?
Yeah, well, especially most people smoke cigarettes that I know. They smoke cigarettes after they're drinking.
Yeah.
You have a couple drinks in you. You go head outside. You have a dart. You know what I mean? And that's how it goes. And
Dart. That's how you know you smoke some cigarettes. Let me get a dart.
Let me get a dart.
Never heard that before.
So the never heard that before. So you don't like wake up in the morning like in the movies and you pop one. I mean, you're having a couple drinks. And what did everybody do every day during the pandemic? They got drunk.
Yeah.
You weren't.
Everybody got drunk every day during the pandemic.
Well, maybe not down here because we've discussed this at length that you guys really weren't locked down.
All your friends
down
in New
here.
Jersey were just getting drunk at home.
Yeah, we were literally on house arrest. There was nothing else to do. The only things that were open were fast food restaurants and liquor stores. That was literally all that was.
You come down to Florida, you lose 50 pounds.
Literally, there you go. Like actually,
I don't
literally.
think it's like Florida's
So
like
he
the
spent
rest
the
of
pandemic
America.
just burgering
It's
a buzz,
crazy.
right?
Like he doesn't realize other states exist.
I know.
It's so crazy.
I stay here,
don't-
Ricky.
Other states
You stay in
don't
California.
exist. You don't ask for the help's last name. I'm learning.
How many Uber drivers' last names do you know? Go.
Dominguez.
Zero. Done. Dominguez.
Velasquez.
I have my own car. I don't drive Ubers. Let me ask you this. You drive Uber every single
Not
day.
these days. I'm borrowing
How
my
many
friend's
Uber
car.
drivers' last names do you know?
Zero. They don't tell you their
I've
last
taken
name.
2 Ubers this year. How many Ubers have you taken? Can you name
Probably
one Uber
500.
driver?
The only way to do it is to schedule Uber. By the way, with the cigarettes, I literally know more people who have quit smoking than I know people who actually smoke.
I'm with you.
I don't know anybody that smokes.
I'm with you.
I don't see them smoking in the bars. California probably has a lot fewer smokers. Here's the interesting thing about this, right? The pandemic caused this, like Gerard said, 100%. It's the reason people are smoking more. But after you get that little buzz, it actually increases your anxiety and your tension.
Wait.
right?
Are you saying smoking's bad for you?
Right? No kidding, right? Here's the other fascinating thing about this.
Yeah, that's
Smokeless
the 2
tobacco.
packs a day part, right?
Smokeless tobacco increased from 126 million pounds to 129 million pounds. They're measuring this. That's a lot of Skull Bandits.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, I was in a gas station last week, and I saw 2 people back to back come in and order chewing tobacco and buy it. That's another thing you never see anymore.
You're in the
Even
South?
baseball
Where were
players.
you?
I was in Florida right when I was leaving town.
I had a 15-year Levi Garrett habit for sure.
Did you? I would imagine if you played minor league baseball
in the
for
oil
sure.
fields, in the oil fields, chewing tobacco is Copenhagen's like God because you can't smoke close to the wellhead. So
Gerard can probably back this up because you and I are probably the only ones who hit the bars these days.
Oh.
These Gen Zers out there, 18, 21, 25, whatever that age bracket,
vape is
the
nonsense.
vape is nonstop.
It's nonstop.
I'll look at a bar and they'll be like, boom, 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 just vaping.
Remember back in the day where there would be a club and a DJ would drop the beat and then smoke would come out everywhere?
Yeah,
It's
of course.
like that, nonstop.
By the way, is
Nonstop.
it illegal to show smoking in movies? Can you not do that anymore? I mean, maybe.
know about
Kai, I'm
that.
I mean,
sending
you never
something.
see it anymore. It's so funny. You watch
But
old school
there's a
shows.
stat here that they didn't show because Truth has done a very good job of getting people to stop smoking. But there's someone out there that has been probably the biggest catalyst into smoking, and that's Matt Sapala. This guy makes people smoke cigars left and right.
Hey,
I
don't throw
smoked more
cigars into
cigars with the Money Smart guy in
don't-
6 months than in 10 years.
Shout out to Matt Sapala. He may call him, but
Exactly.
don't show it yet. Don't show it yet. Don't go down to the bottom. Okay, question for you. Price of a pack of cigarettes today. Okay,
in New York
Now,
City?
I'm gonna go.
Depends
I'm gonna
on the
go.
state.
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask you
Yeah,
by
go ahead.
state. I'm gonna ask you by state. If you guys stop interrupting each other a little bit, that'd be good. All right, here we go. Give me the price of cigarettes in New York City. 1 pack.
$12.
No. American Spirits would probably be like between 19 and 21 bucks.
Okay, so it's, by the way, the fact that you know the number concerns me a lot about you. It's $12.85. Okay. Price of cigarettes, a pack in Illinois, $11.50. Massachusetts, $9.95. You can show it now, Kai. Alaska's $9.79, Vermont $9.62, Hawaii $9.55, Connecticut $9.52, Washington $9.30, Rhode Island $8.95, Wisconsin $8.82 for a pack of cigarettes. If you're smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day in California, you spend $16 a day. You're spending $8 a day on cigarettes. Here's one rule I have. This is going to offend some people. I don't do business with people who smoke cigarettes. I just don't. Simple as that. You come to my house. How long does it take to smell cigarettes? How long does it take to smell cigarettes?
It's on their clothes.
If I sense it, I am buying. I have a very simple rule. If I sense it, I'm not buying cigarettes. The smell to me is something. Shaking hands, when you shake hands with somebody, that hand, then you go like this. It's
Have
in
you
your
had
hand.
an incident where you were going to do business with somebody and you said, sorry, buddy,
If
the
I
cigarettes.
tell you 50 times, that's a small number.
50 times?
That's
you've
a
said-
small number.
But what do you mean, what type of business? Like a new agent,
Anything
recruit?
you're selling me, anything you're doing with me, I'll have the conversation. I'll say, hey, can you tell me why you smoke cigarettes? Everything has a reason. Smoking cigarettes doesn't have a reason. Right. Why do you drink alcohol? Okay, you get a little bit tipsy. Maybe it gives you a little bit of a buzz. Fine.
That liquid courage.
Smoking weed. Okay, fine. Smoking cigarettes. There is no argument on why anybody should smoke cigarettes. But here you go, 2020.
Well, according to
people
this
are
report,
smoking.
it's stress.
Even the French, so you're not doing business with
I'm
anybody
not.
from
The
France?
numbers really do surprise me because it's just.
I'm okay. Let me just tell you this story. It's already too late, anyways. So I'm dating a former Miss. I'm not going to say the state. So we're dating. This was a few years ago, and we're going out. One day we're going out. We kiss. That was the last time we kissed because she smoked cigarettes.
Last time you went out. I'm sure.
I cannot do that. If I have any smell with cigarettes, I can't do it. To me, I can't do it. Now, you may call it a weakness, call it judgment, say I judge people, whatever you want to call it. I cannot do cigarettes. By the way, another pet peeve, coffee stains. You guys know with coffee how I work. Yeah. You have no idea. For me to even think about that thing sitting right there is 2 inches away from dropping and causing a stain. Okay? Everything to me with coffee, cigarettes, some people may call it crazy a little bit, you know. I ran sales offices for 15 years without letting coffee in there. Mario and the guys, Mario can tell you the story. I had a sales office by the way, if you were in the Granada Hills office, you're listening to the podcast, you can post it in the comment section to verify this. Or if you were in Northridge, you can verify this. Guys would put their coffees outside the office, like literally the door is here. The coffees would be lined up, 10 of them here. Yeah. They could be outside, but they could have been inside. Anyways, I have something about cigarettes and coffee. It is what it is. Maybe I'll start drinking coffee at 50.
Pat, I can relate to that, though. I mean, because that takes you out of your zone. Because if you got 3 people doing it, it's the same thing with me with people chewing gum. I can't deal with it. I freak out.
Everyone in my house drinks coffee. My wife loves coffee. My dad loves coffee. My sister loves coffee. My own kids say, Mom, can I have a sip of that coffee? Right? Me, I'm good.
Pat, did someone spill hot coffee on you?
No, there was a stain. There was a stain. There was a stain at the Granada Hills office that I would have to look at every single day when I came in. I can't deal with stains.
Wow. By the way, you know who drinks more coffee than anyone I've ever seen in my life?
Who?
Our friend Mario. This guy used to go 10 cups a day. It'd be midnight, and he's ready for bed. He's like, "Can I get a cup of coffee to go?" It's insanity.
Cold brew,
matter of fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? What is the best coffee machine out there? Tell me what the best coffee machine is out there. Pull it up. What's
Nespresso.
No, give me a coffee machine to buy. How much is a coffee machine? What's
$300.
Can you pull up a coffee machine?
You can go with
$500.
Nespresso.
What is the best coffee machine?
This is what happens when he puts this out there. Be careful with your choice because Pat's gonna buy this.
It's Nespresso.
Right.
100%.
Tell me what it is.
Nespresso.
What's
Really?
the
You think
best
so?
coffee machine?
You don't like Nespresso?
Tell me one of the best coffee machines. Give me
I'll give you a reason why. Because
Not
the
the
capsules
Keurig.
are inexpensive and it's good coffee.
Not Keurig.
No.
French press man myself.
Okay, is that Deloney all-in-one? Is that a good coffee machine? Is that the one? Which
I
one
mean,
is
that
it?
makes, like legit barista type coffee, but you don't want to do that. Go with an espresso. You push one button.
Okay.
Zenner knows his stuff about this.
What's the deal with onions, though?
Oh, don't get this man started on
what's the deal
onions.
with
Guys,
Great
guys,
question.
everybody has a certain gift. One of my gifts is I'm gifted with a big nose. Okay, which means I can smell stuff from a mile away. Middle Easterns,
Yeah.
I know what they're doing across the street right now. I can smell it. It's one of those things. Onions. I come in, David's having onions. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Okay, one time Robert, our HR guy, having onions. He's trying to hide the onions. I'm like, get that onion out of here.
I feel bad, so bad for our
smell of
editor
onions.
Carlos. One time, I think this was like his second week.
No.
He warmed up his little lunch, whatever. Pat comes storming out of his office. Onions. Who's got onions? Carlos.
No, I'll take it.
Like,
Coffee,
Onions are banned.
cigarettes, and onions. It
Yeah.
is what
That
it
could
is.
never live next to a Starbucks. That's for damn sure.
I'll take
What's
it,
up, Biz-Doc?
I'll take it up one more. We have first office, PHP, Dallas, Texas. We're in the conference room. We really screw up and we've lit Pat up. Okay, you, and you. My office. We're going to process this. We're walking down the hall, and there was this little tiny break room that was there. Remember that? The one table and
Yep.
two thing. And Paul Escarcega is microwaving and reheating fish from hell. And as we walk past the break room,
God, this
we
is
all
such a Paul
thank God for Paul because he got distracted. Goes, Paul, how could you bring that in? Of all the things you could bring in to reheat for your lunch, you bring this in. This is horrible. This stinks. And suddenly we got to his office, and he was 10
There's
minutes.
a lesson here.
10
If you're in
minutes.
trouble with Pat, like yesterday, I was a little late. I was a little in
head for
trouble.
Paul.
Just have someone show up with some onions. Just call in from the bullpen. Get an
fish.
onion guy.
Can you
And
imagine?
next
You
thing
call
you know,
you call Gerard and I got a meeting with Pat. It's not going to be a good meeting. Can you do me a favor and
Yeah.
order a chalupa with extra
Bring
onions?
in the onion guy.
Do you remember Paul and the fish? It's like,
Okay, so listen, you guys got me in a good mood. Here's what we're gonna do. If we hit 10,000 live, I'm gonna give $10,000 away to a super chatter. Okay, so let me say that
Bum,
one more
bum,
time. If we hit 10,000 live, I'm giving $10,000 cash to somebody that does $20 on a super chat. So screw it. We just decided this. Okay, share
That
this
just
thing with
happened.
others.
Tell your friends,
that just
everybody.
happened.
hey,
Okay?
but we're at the story too. If they've given $20, I really like the personal story. You know, people have had some tough times this year. I'd like to know the personal story behind the person that gives $20.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to help somebody that needs a little bit.
we're gonna do some of that stuff. Maybe we'll do that in the second half when we keep going with this. But that's a good idea, Tom. Samvel, are we ready for the first giveaway or no? Because I think the list is a long list, gang. If you want to get in there right now, give your $20 super chat. We're gonna do the first giveaway. Do we do the Monte Cristo? Why don't we do the Monte Cristo first?
Can I help you
Let's
out
do
here?
the Monte Cristo with a signed copy of Your Next 5 Moves, and I'll make it to the person. Sam, if you're ready. Pull it
I believe
up.
Kai's pulling it up.
Okay, if
What
we're
is
ready.
this thing? Explain what's going on with this wheel
So
of luck
this
over
has
here.
everyone's name in there that gave 20?
Right now,
This is pretty dope.
More names that just gave, but they're not included because I didn't.
So you have this right now for the 27 people that are in there.
This is yes.
Okay, all right, let's do the first one here.
So you're gonna click to spin it.
You click to spin it. This is for Monte Cristo
Oh.
cigars
Killer.
and a signed copy of Your
This is
Next
dope.
5 Moves. And the winner is...
Jason Seaton.
Oh, Jason Seaton, if you're on.
This is dope.
Text us at 310-340-1132 to get your box of Monte Cristo cigars and a signed copy
Does everybody else
of
still
Your
get to
Next
say
5
that?
Moves.
Outside of the winner?
No, their name gets out.
So they got to do, okay. That was only for one giveaway.
Yeah, that's one giveaway. So, Samvel, it looks like you're behind with names. Keep adding the names to it.
he's
Okay,
a-
first prize is gone. We got it up here. Okay, let's
Hope he's
continue.
not an
Congratulations,
oncologist
Jason.
from MD Anderson.
Next story. Let's talk about Scottie Pippen confirms he's furious with Michael Jordan after the Last Dance. How dare the GOAT offend Scottie? So Scottie Pippen confirms he's furious with Michael Jordan after the Last Dance. USA Today story. Pippen said it was challenging for him to see Jordan constantly glorified while he and his teammates were not given nearly enough praise for their contributions to the 6 title runs. While Pippen said he wasn't surprised at the depiction and he felt it would have been naive to expect anything different, being demeaned once again was brutal because it was insulting enough when it happened in real time. Beyond the journalistic integrity that vanished when the producers gave Jordan editorial control of the final product, Pippen also felt fiscally slighted as well. To make things worse, Michael received $10 million for his role in the doc, while many teammates and I didn't earn a dime. Another reminder of the pecking order from the old days. For an entire season, we allowed cameras into the sanctity of our locker rooms, our practices, our hotels, our huddles, our lives. What do you have to say about this with Scottie Pippen?
Look, Scottie, let's take a lesson here, bro. Back up. Know your role. Do you understand that he is now one of the greatest duos of all time? Not because he was a top 50 player. MJ's the GOAT. The GOAT. I don't think there's any question of that. Now he feels slighted. He's coming back. He feels fiscally slighted. Scottie, I know he's dealing with a lot with his wife, Larsa. He feels like you were looking to maybe buying his house at one point.
We looked at his house.
Okay.
It's actually a nice house. The basketball court on the right side. Yeah.
Look, if I'm Scottie, just stay in your lane, bro. You don't want to make waves with MJ. This is not the direction you want to go with the legacy of your career. Now he's fighting with Isaiah Thomas. You see what Isaiah Thomas had to say about Scottie? Because Scottie was talking trash about Isaiah about not making the dream team. Isaiah says, look, I'll take it from MJ. I'll take it from, Hakeem or, the greatest of all time. Scottie, know your role, bro.
Yeah.
And this is just basically overstepping.
You know what I'd want to hear? Here's what I'd want to hear. If anybody has this, and then we'll go to the rest of them. Does anybody have an argument to say that Scottie's got a point? Does anybody have an argument for Scottie?
A little bit.
I want to hear that. Go ahead, Tom. I'm curious.
I have a unique perspective because I was there for every day of The Last Dance. For those 3,
Literally.
I was there every day. I was in the middle of everything that happened.
You watched every game.
Yeah, I was at every practice. I worked at NBC as the sports anchor from 1995 to 1998.
What people don't know, Tom Zenner was the guy with the white poofy afro.
He doesn't want to tell who he really is. No, Tom, tell us.
Every single second of The Last Dance, Rodman's parties. We hosted a show with Dennis Rodman every Sunday night. We could do a whole show on me just giving you Rodman stories. Now, Scottie's brand is exactly like it was back then. It's bitterness, and it all stems from money. Right? It's all about money with Scottie Pippen. He knows he got screwed over as a player. He knows how great of a player he was. Everybody knows how great he was.
8 years on that first contract.
7 years, $18 million.
Time out, though. He didn't get screwed. He signed a bad deal.
Well, yes, he did, and he knows it. But here's the other thing with Scottie. Here's the other problem with him. He hasn't evolved into a second act, right? So everybody else is an analyst, is an executive, is just a personality. An owner of a team, a coach, Steve Kerr. Everybody is somebody. He's still sitting in that rocking chair whining about the old days, and he's bitter. The wife has something to do with it. Remember back in the day, his nickname was No Tippin' Pippen. There was always something about him. He always had a chip on his shoulder that helped him become a great player.
No Pippen, meaning he never tipped.
He never tipped. The reputation in Chicago was...
Well, Michael also had that reputation for not tipping, no?
I don't think Michael had that. Michael was generous.
Well, the Barkley interview with him and Oprah Winfrey where Barkley's like how cheap Michael is. You don't remember that?
Okay, but I think what he was talking about is not paying back gambling debts or something, or maybe not paying for a meal. But Scottie had that reputation. So, look, he's not going to change because nothing from his past is going to change. He's not all of a sudden going to make more money. He controlled his own destiny even with The Last Dance. That show would not have been the same without him. He should have said, I want something for participating. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you one last thing. This story says Michael Jordan made $10 million for The Last Dance. He would have made way more than that. All right, with the success of The Last Dance, Michael did not leave a dollar on the table.
What the hell is $10 million to Michael, first of all?
Right.
Is Scottie just salty at this point?
I think he has. What he's just you can see that in the documentary. He's bitter, and it's all about money, and you can kind of understand that because you realize guys right now make $18 million a month.
Well, the worst story in The Last Dance was the episode where basically he refused to go into the game. He wanted the shot drawn up for him. Tony Kukoc hit the shot, the game winner, and that's Pippen's legacy. As great of a player as he was, you can call him one of the best duos, the Robin to MJ's Batman. He's still the guy that was too salty to go into the game.
Let me ask you a question. Here's a question for you. I dropped that thing if you don't mind picking it up. Here's a question for you. Question for you is the following. Okay. How many people knew that Michael and Scottie won 6 championships together? How many people?
Everyone.
People that follow. Okay, great, fine. Just follow me with you. Okay, how many people knew Steve Kerr and John Paxson hit some of the last, 3-pointers or the shots that they needed to win?
A good amount of people.
Everyone. Okay, how many millennials, Gen Zs, knew the Kukoc story with Pippen, who didn't want to go in?
None. Zero.
That's the point. Yes, and I think that if they would have left that story out, this would have never happened. But it needed to be in there. I think if they left that story out, Scottie's not like this.
This is the thing with Scottie, though. He's not necessarily wrong. Luke Longley came out and did a whole thing about The Last Dance and how much they left out and how it was all about glorifying Jordan. Nobody cared because he's Luke Longley. And Horace Grant was also a guy that was like, whoa, was I an afterthought? I was one of the best players in the NBA on the first 3. I left for a max contract. So Horace Grant, to me, they made him like a clown. Like somehow, Rodman was one of my favorite players of all time. I have his jersey. You make fun of me for wearing it around. I love Dennis Rodman. But they acted like Rodman came in and like saved the franchise. Horace Grant was an amazing player. So there was a narrative being formed around the fact that this thing was falling apart and they had to get the right pieces and it was Jordan as a leader. I'll go get Rodman from Vegas and stuff. Mm-hmm. Luke Longley said the reason Rodman was in Vegas is he was sick of Jordan shit. So that's why he's like, screw this.
But how many titles did those guys win without Michael? It's so easy to bitch about it.
It's Michael Jordan, don't get me wrong, but Scottie Pippen is getting the
This is the side I want. I want to hear this because the argument is so one-sided with logic, but I want to hear this side to kind of hear it to,
Listen to Luke Longley.
I saw what he said. But here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's just say Luke Longley goes and does a documentary. Let's go do a documentary on Luke Longley. How many people watch it?
A lot in Australia.
Okay. say Scottie goes as a documentary. How many people watch it?
Well, that's the thing. He's going to make a lot of money off of this. So, you know.
I'd watch it.
Would you watch Horace Grant?
I'd watch it for his bitterness.
either.
I really would.
Oh, by the way, I would watch Scottie Pippen's documentary. But am I going to spend 5 weeks of every Sunday night from 8 to 10 at my house, sitting in the theater room, watching it together, texting everybody saying, did you see what just happened? No, I'm not going to be
something that you always talk about, Pat, is MJ.
Scottie Pippen would be a good 30-for-30. He's not going to be a 5 weeks of 2 episodes a week.
Something that you talk about is that MJ has reached saint status. You
Scottie
can't.
has not.
He's not even close. How often do you say that when you reach saint status? Like Rogan has reached saint status. Dave Chappelle has reached saint status. You can talk all the trash you want about these people.
But the thing is,
you're not canceling. You're not. No one's gonna lose. Lower them on the totem pole.
But the thing is, it's not even so much that you can't say anything about Jordan. Jordan played when he was sick. Jordan played after his dad was killed. Scottie walked away. Like, bro, we don't forget that you walked away from your team. Like, we don't forget that. Like, you don't go in there and cry. Because at the end of the day, can you imagine, had he not done that, how many endorsements he would have got? Michael Jordan is worth $1.5 billion, and it's not from the NBA. And Scottie was missing the big picture, and he's still doing it now.
Sure.
Because even then, he did not negotiate in the last dance to make any money.
But Ricky, you're right, but
he's always been horrible in negotiations.
What did Scottie win without Jordan? What did Jordan win without Scottie?
Okay, so let's go there. Let's actually go there. That's a good conversation. Let's go there. Would Jordan have won without Scottie?
He won when Scottie had walked out. Eventually, he found the way to pivot because that's Michael Jordan.
By the way,
pivoted.
He's got a point. Couple games, Game 7, Scottie was like, I have anxiety, I have this, I have that. So, but the question is this: let's say Scottie, that one season that he sits out. Let's say Krause. Let's say those guys trade him. Let's say they do. Does Jordan eventually win without Scottie?
Yes. He never did. How would we know?
I'll say he wins at least one without.
Oh, it's not even guys. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. I say Jordan without Scottie wins another 3 or 4. I'm not saying 6, but I'm saying 3 or 4. Okay, let's face it. If Shaq and Kobe could have gotten along and Phil could have made it work, and Karl Malone never came to the Lakers, Peyton never came to the Lakers. Those guys never came to the Lakers. They kept a squad with the 2 main guys with a couple role players around them, Rodman type of players, defensive type of players. If they kept it that way, how many championships would have the Lakers won?
Unlimited.
A lot.
Quite a few of them, right? Now, we obviously don't know the answer to the question, but here's a part. This is the angle I take. So, Gerard, think about when you and I are speaking off camera, okay, and we talk about branding, vision, story, future, right? What do you want to be? That one conversation we had 2.5 years ago in the conference room where we're writing all this stuff out on the board. You know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, sounds good. Who is that for Scottie? Who's sitting there with Scottie, a good publicist saying, hey, Scottie, I just want to have a conversation with you, buddy. The route you're going, you're going to be the bitter player that is not going to build a brand. I'm just letting you. You can do this, but I'm just telling you, let's rebrand Scottie. Let's have a different. I had this conversation with a couple other guys in the last few months. The market thinks you're a dick. This is not a good look for you. If you want the market to change, you got to change your approach. You can't be pointing fingers at everybody all the time. Scottie went that route. Scottie could have taken a route and said, my argument would have been, Scottie, the more you edify Jordan, the more the market's going to say you're not a top 50, you're a top 25. The more you undermine Jordan, the more you're top 100, because a big part of that attitude is unattractive. It's just unattractive.
Not being gracious as you age is a bad look. And to your point, I would find out exactly who did Mike Tyson's rebrand, and I would pay them everything.
Marijuana.
Mike Tyson went from, having a tattoo and threatening reporters on air to having a child's cartoon on Adult Swim and, being like America's crazy.
What Tyson has been able to do is take a look at his past indiscretions and all the mistakes he made, embrace them, face the truth, and own up to it and say, look, I don't even know that guy anymore. The stories he says on podcasts, I know you've interviewed him, you've had moments with him.
Yeah.
He's so real at this point and so inspiring that you can't help to love the guy who was the baddest man on the planet.
100%.
Scottie needs to take a lesson from Mike Tyson.
Yeah, but it's got to be sincere because that's the thing about Tyson. It's legit. He has that inside him. But I don't think Scottie has it. He's too bitter. He has to, number one, overcome that bitterness for anything to change.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I think that's what Pat's saying. Somebody has to tell him. Somebody's got to grab him in the room. Somebody has to be the guy.
Because the way it's going right now, it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Right.
Nobody is turned on by a bitter guy. Nobody is. No one's turned on by that. By the way, even look at Barkley. Look at Barkley's resume. Actually, look at his resume. Never won a championship.
Still loved.
Never won a championship. He is loved. He never, and he
loved.
calls out everybody and he says his own shit.
Yep.
He never, ever won a championship. Probably one of the most beloved guys ever. He'll never be in the category of a champion, right?
And the most Teflon person in America. Can get away with saying anything.
By the way, think about analytics. By the way, when Scottie talks and he gives his analytical side, I don't know which one it is, TNT or not TNT.
He's on it.
He's on one of them when he does it. I sit there, I'm like, damn.
He's on it.
I didn't even see that perspective, and I'm not in the world. I felt like I went in the world. So Scottie could be one of those guys.
Right.
The media and fans are not turned on by bitter people.
Can I
They're
make
just
one
not.
more point about that era of the Bulls? And I think this is part of the problem for Scottie. There will never be anything like those Bulls, ever. There was never anything like it, with no social media, and there'll never be anything like it again with Michael. Right. I think Scottie got caught between thinking, am I an icon or do I have to get another job? And I thought he was living off the fumes of the Bulls aura for so long, and he didn't know how to monetize that. So then he was stuck in this little gray area, and it stuck with him for 23 years.
Tom's trying to say that Scottie Pippen can't afford Gucci flip-flops, I think, is what the bitterness is coming from.
The fan base, they love humility, and champions with humility become legacy. And I'm going to go to baseball for this side of the table because there's something I've always admired. And it's 1988 World Series. Everybody talks about the Gibson home run. But who carried the team? Oral Hershiser. Oh, yeah. He won the Cy Young that year. He broke Don Drysdale's scoreless innings record at 59.
Pitched a shutout in Game 4.
And pitched a shutout in Game 4. Shut the series off. And all he has is praise and admiration for Kirk Gibson, and that's how I got my ring. And in Dodgerland, and he's a commentator at the Dodgers, his status is elevating. He didn't have a long enough career to have Hall of Fame consideration, but his status is elevating because he's giving praise to Gibson. He's giving praise to Lasorda. And everybody looks at it. You know what he could say?
Something attractive about that.
He could be pissed off and going down it. I won the Cy Young. I broke Drysdale's record. It was a 97-pitch complete game that he threw in the World Series. Think about that. By today's standards, 97-pitch complete game. He could be going down that and says, "Damn it, why didn't I get the love?"
In a weird way, this brings it all back to like Donald Trump for me. It's like, what made Trump amazing? He edified. It's great to be an American. You should be great. I love being a part of this. We're winners. Let's get in together. And then he was bitter. Anybody says anything bad about him, I can see why your husband left you. You're ugly. Like it's like he couldn't stop. It's like you can't just be like, maybe Scottie feels this way. Penn would be like, look, man, you know what? I don't know if The Last Dance really told the whole story. There's some things you didn't learn. I'm going to put it in my doc. Love Michael, love the things that we did together, but there's another side of the story.
Thinking big picture rather than like going tit for tat. Instead of trying to win the battle, look at the war, try to win the war. Right now he's going after, I didn't get this, I didn't get this. If he looks at the big picture, and if someone sat him down in a room and said, look, think about your legacy. Think about what you want to be known as, not trying to win these little tit-for-tat battles.
That's the key, though. I really think, and you hit the nail on the head. As you age, like he's an icon, he's this. It's the people like that you start listening to, right? It's the person that has to be like, who can sit Scottie Pippen down that he'll actually listen to and be like, Scottie, bro, cut the shit, man.
You know what it is? Somebody has to say the following. Somebody has to say, look, like even with kids or people you talk to, hey. The other day, Dylan's like, hey, Daddy, am I better than Sam in jet ski? No, you're not. You're not. He's way better than you in jet ski. I said, well, you're better than when I was 8 years old on jet ski because I've never freaking been on jet ski until I was in my 30s. But I said, you're better than me when I was 8 years old. It's like, okay, I'm better than you at 8 years old, right? It's somebody has to say,
I didn't know
bro, hey, Scottie, there's no jet skis in Iran, by the way.
I didn't know they ran on sand.
So I was rocking that Persian Gulf.
So anyway, so somebody has to tell Scottie behind closed doors, Scottie, I love you. You're amazing. You ain't Michael. I'm just telling you. Stop acting like you're better than Michael. And FYI, every time you edify LeBron to say he's better than Michael, everybody knows what you're doing. Everyone knows that's coming from an insecure place. Stop it. Just like when Isaiah says LeBron's better than Michael, Isaiah, we all know you're pissed that you didn't make it on the Dream Team. Everyone knows Michael's better than LeBron. Everyone knows Michael's better than Scottie. What are you doing? It's not even like that argument. So Scottie could have taken a different route. Listen, 40 laws of power. Rule number one. You know what rule number one is? Never outshine the master. Don't. Replace the boss for the face of the team. Replace the boss for master. Replace the boss for whatever the MVP is. You don't outshine Jordan. If he doesn't outshine Jordan, he's going to get 1,000,001 other opportunities. Now he's not going to get those opportunities.
One last thing, dime store psychologist.
Say less, right?
Pat, I mean, the fact that he doesn't have a supportive wife. Now, I don't know anything about their marriage for real, but I do know she's chasing headlines. And she's not probably sitting there telling Scottie how great he is. And he's been humiliated by her, by some of her actions. So that doesn't help. That doesn't help matters either.
True.
I don't. Yeah, but by the way, I mean, that's who you marry. But at the same time, he's not the first person that had humiliating stories with wives on the personal life. You still gotta, people can have a choice on what they're gonna do. This is what I want to say before we move on. Let me just remind everybody that's listening to this. $20 super chat gets you in the giveaways. We have a PlayStation 5 we're going to be giving away, iPhone, signed books, and a couple other surprises. We get to 10,000 people live by the third hour. The last super chat will give $10,000 away, but you got to share this with others to get to 10,000. Live will give a $10,000 super chat away. We got a surprise guest that's going to be coming here. But go ahead. You were going to say your final thoughts here.
I know we're just piling on Scottie. We're shitting on Scottie. The wife thing is true. She's definitely embarrassing him and going after headlines. She's dating a guy, Malik Beasley in Minnesota, 20 years her senior. He did lose his son, Scottie Pippen Jr., over the last 6 months. And that's sad, So he's been going through some stuff. He's probably dealing with major mental issues, anxiety, depression. He's lashing out. Someone does need to sit him down, but he is going through it, bro, and I hope he gets better.
We love Scottie.
Totally.
We love Scottie, man.
Now, great point on what you just said right there. That's why, Adam, what I go back to is, sometimes we have a conversation, and it's a private conversation that's just between you and I. It's not the world's issues. It's you and I talking about it, right? Those people that are around you that are not afraid to tell you, listen, dude, chill out a little bit. Kick back a little bit. If you eliminate those people out of your life, I'm sorry, you're going to have more situations like this. Scottie needs to bring some of those people in his life to say, chill out a little bit.
I think we're rooting for Scottie.
We are. We are.
Like he's a beloved NBA superstar.
We got a special guest here, a special gift from Chico Lopez, who just gave $20 and he's listening to this. Chico, this is a shout out for you. Hey. We got Kobe in the house. What's up, little Kobe?
Gerard, don't eat him, Gerard.
We finally agreed on the name. Oh my gosh, it's mine. Yeah, we just got it last week, Kobe.
Oh, he's so cute.
Oh, dude, look at this guy. Look at this guy. You can put him on the table here. Let him kick back a little. Sit. Let's see what he does. Maybe he just joins us and
don't
sits
pull a
there.
Biden.
Don't pee, my boy.
No, seriously, he's not.
Wow. He's so
look
cute.
at that.
Look at him.
American Pit Bull Terrier.
Hey, you.
From Chico Lopez.
Shout out to Chico.
The other two dogs are not big fans. Can we put his face up on the camera so people can see it?
I feel so bad for Jimbo and Cooch.
He's
They're not a fan, man. He bites them, he wrestles them, and they run away. They're not. There you go. Can you put them on the camera, Tom? Let's. Right here? There you go. Oh, look at that thing.
You clip the ears?
Huh?
You gonna clip the ears?
I don't think so. I don't know yet, but we're in love with this guy, man. He came in. Another one of those things, man. First night, I'm having a conversation with Mario at midnight. I'm like, Mario, I think I'm going to give the dog to Eric. And Mario says, Pat, just sleep on it. I'm like, here we go. I'm going to sleep on it for 16 years. That's what's going to happen. But he's with us. He's kicking it. He's having a blast.
So, Pat, when I started kicking it with you, you had 3 kids and 2 dogs. Now you got 4 kids, 3 dogs. An even bigger house. You got your dad living with you.
8 businesses.
Yeah, you said I'm here. Let me pile it on. More.
Are you suggesting to add cats to that, or what's like? Is there like a
maybe you want to add a cat or two?
What are you trying to say?
I know a good cat
to
conference where you
diversify.
Can
diversify. Okay, how about we do another giveaway? Hey, Samvel, are you ready? Because people are throwing the 20s in there. Even Gerard Michaels threw $20 in there. He wants to win.
You can't win, buddy.
If he wins it, it'll be
it's rigged. It's rigged.
Okay.
Is this fake Gerard Michaels? Huh? Is this like somebody out there being fake Gerard Michaels?
So, Samvel, do you have it or no? Do you have it or no? Let's see if Samvel's got it or no. Is it up? Okay, Kai, can you do this? Here's what I'm thinking. But what do we do to make the next giveaway? Do we do an iPhone? Do we do a nice, sick coffee machine? What do we do? Do we do?
I think the iPhone.
Let's do an iPhone. We'll do an iPhone. That's the 13. That's the latest one. Okay. So let's see. Here, the iPhone, Tom, if you want to grab it. So the next thing we're giving away is the iPhone 13. iPhone 13, Samvel, if you're ready.
Freaking cool right there, man.
Let's do the next one. And if we crack 10,000, we're going to give
apparently
away.
Steve Wozniak, not a fan of this new.
Gosh, look at all those names. Look at all those names. The next one is Samvel. That's a lot.
Oh! Come on, Michaels.
All right, here we go. This next one is for a brand spanking new iPhone.
And a 2.
All right, here we go. Signed copy
this
and
technology
an
is
iPhone.
amazing.
Let's see what comes up. Let's see what comes up.
Juan B. I don't know why. Jose Quijada.
Jose Quijada!
This is your phone, Jose.
Fantastic. Jose
Shout out
Quijada.
to Fran Drescher, by the way, one of the most underrated hotties of the 90s.
You know what's funny? They used to say my mom looked like the nanny.
What?
Yeah, you see a picture of my mom when she was younger?
This is,
Keep Gerard away from your mom, bro.
Jose an iPhone. Put it on there.
She's recently single,
Yeah,
too.
with
So.
them. Okay.
Gerard.
Huli.
Looks like you're going to need a babysitter, buddy, a nanny.
Jose Garrett. There he is.
Well, shout out to mom. Okay.
Shout out to Jose.
All right, let's keep going. Next story. Let's talk about pilot under investigation for saying "Let's go, Brandon." Moral, thank you for the text to clarify what "Let's go, Brandon" means. I appreciate that. Moral texts me the meaning of "Let's go, Brandon."
You would think that she understands your sarcasm at this point.
I think she is also being sarcastic, but she.
And shout out to Loza Alexander for the #1 song in America, despite being banned off all the YouTube channels. Let's go, Brandon.
Pilot under investigation for saying "Let's go, Brandon" during announcement. Southwest Airlines says ABC 13 Houston story. A Southwest airline pilot under investigation after he allegedly used the phrase as a way of swearing at President Joe Biden. The incident happened Friday on a flight out of Houston. The pilot was finishing his announcement when he used the phrase "Let's go, Brandon." An Associated Press reporter on the flight said there were audible gasps from passengers after the pilot ended the announcement. In a statement, Southwest Airlines said it is conducting an internal investigation into the reported event while continuing to remind all employees that public expression of personal opinions while on duty is unacceptable.
Whoa, how is it unacceptable? But you couldn't wear a Trump hat on the plane.
Okay.
They literally kicked people off that had Trump hats. But it's unacceptable? That's bullshit.
Well, let's go to Adam first. Adam, what's your thoughts with this story?
He's totally offended.
Well, look, this is cute. It's
please
funny.
Appreciate Adam's emotions and feelings.
Look, I know a lot of people, famous people, who would just straight up saying "F Trump."
Yeah,
like full
on
television. Like it was not. They weren't hiding it. Yeah. There was no code word. There wasn't some cute little "Let's go, Brandon" thing going on. They were come out and just saying "fuck Trump" straight up. And, this is a cute little quirky way of saying fuck Biden. Okay, I get it. I hope we get to a point where Americans aren't basically saying F you to the president, whether that's Trump or that's Biden. And this is why,
I think we're kind of there.
I would hope the next president, who I do not hope is Trump or Biden, I hope it has a different name than those two old bastards. I would hope that a new president doesn't get hated on this much. I hope that our next president has a 60% approval rating, and then we can have a president that we can at least stomach, whether on the left or on the right. So for now, if you want to do the "Let's go, Brandon" thing, and you think that's funny, think that's cute, and think that the song is actually good, God bless you. But I hope that the next president doesn't
I'm going to wear my "Let's go, Brandon" shirt
on
the next podcast. I'm just telling you, bro. I already bought it, by the way. Like, I'm dead serious. I already bought it.
What'd you already buy?
I'm going to wear it every time I get in there. I got inspired yesterday. I jumped on the plane to come here, and an older man, probably about 60, 65 years old, had a "Let's go, Brandon," a hashtag FJB on his shirt. I was so inspired. On the spot, as soon as I sat down, I went on Amazon and bought 3 shirts.
Yeah, cool story, Rick.
That's
bro.
Is one of them for Adam? Yeah, he's thinking about you.
Yeah, so there's 3 things really when I come to that. All right, like would it be great to have a president that we all like? Yes, it would be awesome. We need it. We haven't had one in really 20 years almost, right? If we can have somebody that can bring us together. But there is nothing more American than being able to go double barrels up at the king. Yeah, we've been throwing tea in the harbor from the very first day. So the fact that we can do that while China makes it illegal to make fun of their heroes, I love the fact of that. But it's also, the "Let's go, Brandon" isn't about Joe Biden. This is what the people on the left, especially in the Twitterverse, are missing. It's about the gaslighting. It's about the lying. It's making fun of them for being like, really, they're saying "Let's go, Brandon"? Because for people that don't know out there, and no Pat does know, this comes from a NASCAR driver won his very first race.
Yep.
All right? And
named Brandon.
Correct. And the crowd was audibly chanting, "Fuck Joe Biden." Yes. And the NBC reporter goes,
listen to the crowd.
Oh, listen to them. They're chanting, "Let's go, Brandon." And him at the podium goes,
I don't think so.
You sure that's what they're chanting? So it's not about Joe Biden. It's about them constantly lying and constantly trying to augment reality.
I understand what you're saying, but it was one lady.
No, but
that maybe didn't know that he was saying F Joe Biden.
Yeah, but that's what started it.
No, I get it, but like to use the entire media
gaslighting.
for this one lady's
And
gaffe.
so where did the left lose their sense of humor? Like there were audible gasps about how dare they make fun of our president. Like, how can you not laugh at yourself? You got caught with your pants down. Laugh at yourself. It's the same thing with them protesting Dave Chappelle, like you said before. Like, wow, we don't like jokes in this country. Blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, the left has completely lost their freaking sense of humor.
Well, when you say the
can't
left,
have
you
fun.
mean the ultra transgender, cancel culture, woke left.
Everybody
5%
to
of the Democratic
left
Party,
of
right?
Joe Manchin. Everybody to the left of Joe Manchin.
5%?
95%. And I'm hoping Joe Manchin, who has held his ground over the last 2 weeks, now after what happened.
What do you mean maybe 5%?
I didn't say 5%.
No, you said maybe 5%.
No. I said I'm not making fun of him for saying maybe 5%.
Oh,
It's
no.
much
No,
more.
way more than that.
Much more.
So hang on, Catman. You're like, you know,
You guys have no idea what it's like to get made fun of by a full-on dweeb. It's like, okay, I'm getting tried right now. I love you, but I just got tried by a professional nerd.
exactly.
Okay, this is where we're at right now.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
You know, no. I mean, you're look how you're trying to distance from it.
I'm not distancing anything. I said that Trump, like people are saying, F Trump.
Stop yelling. You're going to yell over me.
Go ahead.
You know you win the argument with a liberal when the yelling and name calling starts. For reference, it takes 16 seconds. So my point. My point was like, oh, you're trying to say, 5% of the Democratic Party. You're trying to distance yourself and call them sort of a woke little bit there, right? So you don't even want to be around, the truth of the thing. It's more than 5%, dude. It's more than 5%. It's a very vocal, very significant part. Is it 100%? The far left that you're trying to say, it's just this little 5%.
So what percentage is the far left?
Literally, Joe Manchin.
You're a numbers guy. What's the percentage
Joe
that
Manchin
is
the only guy
quote
not
unquote
voting.
far left?
Kai, are you typing or are you waiting for what percentage is far left? You know, there's
I'd like to-
you're sitting there chewing
You're a numbers
tobacco.
guy. What's the number?
You may want to put that fingers to use.
They're pretty vocal, baby. What's the number, Bizdoc? What percentage of this country would be considered far left?
Hold on, Adam. Here, let me tell you something.
What's the number?
I don't have a number.
By the way,
but I gave you the number,
hang on.
5%.
So here's what I just did. I just looked up.
Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin and everybody else.
Fortune.com says the far right represents only 6% of U.S. citizens.
by the way, I agree.
That's far right.
I agree with that.
Far right is 6%. So
Like,
to
ignorant
Adam's argument,
Confederate hillbillies.
if far left is 5-6%, I think that sounds about right on far left. 5-6% of Democrats, 42%, which means it's really 12% of America.
Okay, hold on.
So you understand what you understand what I'm saying?
Hold on.
Yeah.
We need to define what that is now, because what far left is today and what far left was 10 years ago are not even in the same ballpark. What we would consider far left 10 years ago
That's correct.
is pretty normal, almost left of center today.
Speak truth,
so, I
baby.
mean, the country has sprinted so far left so fast. And we've had this conversation. So, I mean, we need to better define. First of all, I hate the concept of left and right. It's such an antiquated concept anyway. But the country, your favorite word, the zeitgeist, has moved so far left so quick that anybody that was in that center as the culture shifted, now if you were center 10 years ago, you're considered far right today. Can you imagine what JFK would be today? Can you imagine John F. Kennedy, a Democrat,
Where do you
coming
think
out?
JFK would be on that?
JFK, they would say that he is a far-right extremist.
He'd be like Joe Manchin.
He would not be.
No.
So ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
You're taking one phrase and making it.
It was a big phrase.
Okay, I'm just saying. But he would be where Joe Manchin is.
So,
He would still be a Democrat.
So let me ask you a question,
One phrase.
since you made that point. So what do you
One of the
think is
finest in
far
the
left
real
today?
addresses.
What percentage do you think is far? Let's define far left. Far left is what? Is AOC far left?
Yes.
Is Elizabeth Warren far left?
Yes.
Is Joe Biden far left?
No.
No, but it's policy.
Yeah.
But here's
Bernie.
But
He
he
far
may
left
not.
around him.
Joe
Is
Biden
Obama
may
far
not.
left?
Yes.
No.
Obama's
Yes.
far left?
Yes.
Hey, here's the
Yes.
problem.
No.
The media's far left. So you got the biggest microphone out there
Centralized healthcare is not far
amplifying
left.
everything.
Thank you.
I don't consider Obama far left.
Well, you got to understand his policy.
I think
what would you not
Obama,
consider?
especially these days, is center
Okay.
left.
No. He may have been center left when he was president.
I don't think he's center left. I think he's left. To me, a far left to me, what are we going to say? Further left than far left? It's far left to me is AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders,
Omar,
those guys to
Gavin
me are far
Newsom.
left.
Look who he campaigns
Yeah.
for. He's going to be behind
By
everyone
the
running
way,
for re-election.
do you think Cuomo was far left or left?
No.
I think he's left.
Yeah.
Manchin, is he far left, or center left?
Center.
Center
I think
left.
he's
Center
just
left.
center.
Okay. So what? Okay. So now let me ask you a question. Let's go far right. Is Trump far right?
No.
Is he far right?
No,
His rhetoric
No,
is
his rhetoric. Yeah,
But do
his
you think
rhetoric.
his
with
policies
rhetoric.
are his
I don't
policies
think.
far right?
I think he's left, right, center, up, down. I think he has no
Donald
rhyme or
Trump.
reason.
Fine.
I think he's just all over the map.
His
rhetoric is
is
far
Ted
right, though.
Cruz far right?
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
They like to
on,
frame
guys.
him as that, but I don't think so. I don't think he's far
Is-
right at
is-
all.
I'd put him further
Compared
the
to
right.
everybody else out there, yes, he is
Listen,
far right.
just to bring some reason to this conversation, the right likes to think there are people that are far right, they're only right, and the left thinks the people that are far left are only left. So there's a trend that we have to understand. We have to be aware of this selective hearing or selective, whatever you want to call it, biases.
Cognitive
Yeah,
bias,
that we're going through it. All I'm saying today is, I don't think the far left is as big as you think it is. FYI. Let me explain what I mean by this. Let me give my argument. I want to hear it back because this is a world you were part of. I think we're doing a episode on cancel culture, right? And we pull up all the people that have said stuff about cancel culture. You should hear what Obama said about cancel culture. You should hear what Sharon Stone said about cancel culture. You should hear about what the girl from 50 Shades of Grey, what is her name? Dakota something Johnson? What is her name?
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
John Johnson's
What
daughter.
she said about cancel culture.
What does Bill Maher
You
say
should hear
these
what
days?
Alec Baldwin said about cancel culture. So what is starting to happen today is the following. I tweeted something out the other day. I said logic and common sense is making a comeback, is what I tweeted out. A guy sent a picture saying the rapper Logic and Common have been around for a while. They don't need to make, which I thought it was hilarious. But I said logic and common sense are making a comeback. People are starting to sit there and say, yeah, I don't know, bro. I mean, I'm a Democrat, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm cool going to that point right there. I'm not, right? I think there's a lot of people today like a Bill Maher, like a Russell Brand, like Russell Brand did a video the other day on Let's Go Brandon.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? Russell Brand did a video on
And
Let's Go
where
Brandon.
do you think he is politically?
I think he's center left. I think he's a left guy.
Let's go, Brandon.
Where do you
again,
think
I'm
Dave
telling you,
Chappelle
it has
is?
nothing to do with Joe Biden and everything to do with
Africa
media
somewhere.
lying.
Where do you think Dave Chappelle is politically?
I think that Dave Chappelle is probably center left. I think Dave
Yes.
Chappelle is center left today.
And what you're seeing is backlash from people who are. I would consider myself a moderate. Like I'm a pretty. Like I get it. I can go left. I can go right. Especially
today.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
but
not
the
a year
point-
and a half ago.
Okay, but the point, because a lot of that is being gaslighted by Trump's rhetoric.
Sure.
And people saying, I can't go for that. 80 million people,
Yeah.
whether you believe it or not, said, whatever that is, I'm out. And they use this stopgap president,
Well, you
Joe
have to
Biden.
Joe Biden
But
will go down historically as the greatest motivational speaker.
maybe,
getting the record-breaking
but the
votes
point
when
is
he's
you
away.
have people that you're self-proclaiming as center left, whether it's Russell Brand, whether it's Dave Chappelle, whether it's Bill Maher, who are saying that over there to the far left, we ain't with that. And that's what we need. And that's what people on the right need to do to the far right.
But let me ask you this crazy question just for you. I'm not asking anybody else. I'm just asking you here, just for you. You ready? Here's a question for you. Okay. Do you think there is more far right today, or do you think there's more far left today?
I think there is more far left today.
Okay, perfect. I agree. I think that's the argument. I think there is a bigger far left today than far right. I think far left is probably twice as many as far right, because far right argument is what? What is a far right argument? If you think about,
if you look at what the Proud Boys or what Q is, whatever.
Yeah,
you said it's 6% of the country.
Yeah, and by the way,
maybe that's 5-10% on the.
You know the guy
far
that
left.
did, you know the guy that did the documentary on QAnon. I don't know what the guy's David. What's the guy's name that did the documentary on QAnon?
On
Colin
HBO?
Hoback.
What's his name? Colin Hoback.
Colin
Right?
Hoback.
We interviewed him the other day, like last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, and so the whole 6 episode, I think it's 5 or 6 episodes about QAnon, and he finally ended up finding out who was behind QAnon. These two guys, Watkins or Ron Watkins, and the father and son, and how they were doing it in an accident. He says, "Yeah, we're behind QAnon." It's like, wait, so it's not a military guy. So it's not this. You got to also realize that today there's so many ways to troll yourself into becoming a celebrity. There's so many ways to manipulate and spin and confuse the shit out of everybody. Gaslighting is a skill set today. Trolling is a skill set today. And some of the best trolls are nerds sitting behind a computer that are 19 years old saying, I'm going to act like I'm a big freaking military guy that thinks this happening. Some of those guys are both at fault, by the way, to figure out a way to divide. So the far right guys are fake people. Most of them are fake people that are just trying to get some attention
They're
and
stirring
play
the
games.
pot.
Yeah, they're stirring the pot.
Yeah, but something that needs to be said is that the far left, maybe they're universal health care or tax the rich or even commies, as Gerard likes to call them. Maybe they are. The people on the far right literally think Democrats are eating babies. Like, let's not dismiss that. It's not the same argument.
I've not heard that one.
You've never. That's what QAnon believes.
Wait.
Yeah, but
one. Are you going to say adrenochrome?
They're not.
No, they're not. Everybody knows they're whack.
We're not
Hey,
talking
here's
about
the
the
biggest
documentary.
problem. The far left.
We can't move on. Wait, are you suggesting adrenochrome doesn't exist?
I'm saying that you probably think all Democrats are drinking adrenochrome.
No, I
where
don't
it's
think
like
all Democrats are drinking adrenochrome.
0.0001 of somebody that might have done it.
But there's okay, no. This is the beauty of what they've done with the Q stuff, right? You take something that's nuts, you take something that's insane, and you put it in the same list of things that are actually really plausible, right? Like what was on John DePodesta's laptop absolutely needed to be investigated. This idea that Pizzagate is this nonsensical thing. You go down the Pizzagate rabbit hole, and I'm not saying it's 100% true. I'm not making allegations, but I'm saying there's enough there's cause for investigation here. There's some really, really atypical shit that went down. The stuff that was on Anthony Weiner's laptop that we never found out about, it was gross enough that people in the New York City Police Department walked outside and threw up. They saw what was on it, they threw up.
And Anthony Weiner's clearly been held accountable for that.
Has he really? Do you know what's on there? Do you have any
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm hanging out with Anthony Weiner and know what's on his laptop.
Dude. The point I'm trying to make is that
it's a rough name. It's a rough name to hang out with.
Tony Weens. Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that it's really easy to take something that might be true, and instead of debunking it, surround it with BS. Like there's lizards under Antarctica, and it's like, okay, well, anything these people believe is nonsense. They did this on a much smaller scale. They did this with Jose Canseco. When Jose Canseco came out and said, everybody in the major leagues is on steroids, the first thing they turned around and said, this guy's a jerk. This guy's an asshole. He doesn't know anything about anything. Yeah. And they tried to discredit him through saying all the dumb stuff that he did. And it turned out he was 100% right about everything. So, listen, I'm not saying Democrats are not eating babies or anything like that. No, but the fact is that there is human trafficking. That's 100% true. We saw that video at the border, which is insane. There's an entire... the Wayfair thing went away like this, and that was insane, that there was $10,000 dressers and pillows that were named the same names of children that had gone missing. Yeah. So, I mean, this idea that you could just take this and throw it away as some grand conspiracy is exactly what they hoping you do. And it's nonsense. Some of these things absolutely need to be deep dives in.
What percentage of people, or Democrats if you want to call it, are actually involved in this salacious stuff?
I don't think it's Democrats.
Less than 0.01%?
Yeah, but that's what makes the elite.
Okay, that's my point.
That's what makes the elites elites. That's like saying what percentage of people have access to nuclear technology. It doesn't mean that because it's a small percentage, it's not dangerous.
I agree with you. I actually agree with you. You make a great point here. But the point is it's such a small fraction of people that to be labeled
but there's
Democrats are all socialists.
But wait a minute.
Or Democrats are all eating babies.
No. But the rebuttal to that would be, it's the people in power who are doing that. That's the difference.
And they're implementing policy.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
But during all this stuff that catapulted to the forefront of the news, Trump was in power. QAnon believed
was
that
he
Trump...
really though? Was he really though?
Was he not the president?
So go ahead, process that one right there. You're saying Trump was in power of what?
He was the president of the country.
What can the president actually investigate? What can he actually go investigate? What happened with all these laptops? What could he actually do? Could he actually say, go investigate? You really think a president can call the FBI and say, go investigate Biden's laptop?
Well,
something just happened right now to the audio. What have you touched, George? Okay, good. So, but the point is here, even though you're president, you ain't running FBI. What was the FBI doing? FBI was, donors to Hillary's camp and Cuomo. So, so not Cuomo. What's his name? Comey. Yep. So it's not. President is not in charge, buddy. We learned that very, very quickly.
You think if it was Donald Trump Jr.'s laptop, they wouldn't have
in a heartbeat. It would have been all over the news. With that. Anyways, okay, so far we've done how many giveaways? We've done 3 giveaways, okay? $20 gets you into a super chat. We've given away an iPhone 13. We've done 2. We've given away an iPhone 13. We've given away Monte Cristo cigars. Let's think about guys, why don't you put down here what you want to be at a giveaway? I did say this at the $10,000 live watching us, we'll do $10,000 giveaway today if we hit that number of 10,000.
Can I make one point about that Southwest pilot? He should be fired. As funny as people think that is, that is so the wrong place to be doing it and inappropriate. Yeah. And the last thing you want is friction on a plane at 35,000 feet. And You know, only on Southwest could something like that happen because they all think they're comedians, right, with their announcements or anything. But I'm appalled by that. I just think it was a totally inappropriate and unprofessional thing for him to do.
So do you think teachers should be fired when they bring their politics into the classroom?
Yes.
Every teacher should be fired.
Look, it's different because they're not in an enclosed tube 35,000 feet above the air where people...
Well, yeah, but what are they going to do, bro? Like, here's
Yeah,
what
but have some decorum and some standards.
No, I understand, and I'm with you, and I'm a Let's Go Brandon fan all the way, right? A million times over. But yeah, because they were kicking, but at the same time, though, it never got investigated when many American Airlines, United, Delta, what do they call it? The ladies that help you in the flight attendants were literally kicking people off of planes for having Trump hats. So why was there no investigation there?
Well, there should be that as well. All politics should be out of the air.
No, but
I agree. We're going way too deep into this. Every time somebody says something I don't like, we should fire them. We should fire everybody.
No.
Everybody should get
But
fired.
what he's
This
saying
person
is
should get fired.
to
This
have a
restaurant
certain
should get
level
shut down. Why?
But there's certain
But
Well,
like,
he
roll
should
your
be
eyes
at
and
least
move on.
fined. I don't know about fired. And by the way, it works the same way. If the pilot said F Trump, as someone who doesn't support Trump, that guy should be in trouble too. You fly the plane, bro.
Yeah.
This isn't the time to start getting on your soapbox talking politics.
Shut up and dribble.
If you're the plane, yes.
Yeah.
Shut up and fly the plane.
Yeah.
You're not here to give a speech whether you support
nobody
Trump.
cares.
Let's go, Brandon. We ain't here for you, homie.
Maybe
we didn't sign up for a speech.
Maybe if this is the part that I'm trying to hear both of you guys out. Should he be fired? Should he not be fired? Do I like that comment being made in a situation like that? Probably not, because I look at it as a lead. Even by the way, when LeBron said, "Shut up, chump," he didn't decide to come to the White House anyways. When he was talking about Steph Curry, I don't like that stuff. I at all don't like that stuff because what you don't realize is you're allowing the enemy to see how divided the country. I'm not a fan of that. However, the problem would have been if this pilot, like who was that? David, who was the guy we interviewed who was Space Force Commander Matthew Lohmeyer. Matthew Lohmeyer, who got fired because of what he said on his own platform in an article about the fact that military was teaching Marxism principles, et cetera, et cetera. They fired him from being the Space Force Commander. I think that shouldn't have happened.
Which was a factual...
It was, but it's not about the factual stem. So if this pilot, Southwest Airlines pilot, goes on Instagram and he says, "Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. And by the way, let's go, Brandon." He says that, fine. I understand. But on a flight...
on Southwest.
I don't know. I'm trying to really process it. I don't know if I want my kid to, "Hey, that was so funny, Dylan." Yeah, no, Dylan, that's not funny. You don't do that kind of stuff when you're leading, because you're not a leader. That's not a leader. You want to do it on Instagram, you want to share your opinions? Listen, go for it. Hey, have a great weekend. Let's go, Brandon. Go, Alabama, whatever. Okay, fine. You're trying to be
agree
funny.
with you, Pat.
Yeah. So
time and place.
Yeah, there's a time and place for
The
it.
sky's like there's enough going on in the air right now that we don't need to get politicized a flight.
That's a great point. Right now in the air, you have all this tension with passengers because you have the strained announcement that comes from the purser up there in first class. And by the way, we have to enforce the federal mandate about wearing a mask in the air unless you're eating or drinking. You can lower it briefly. That is the standard of the air, and we are enforcing that. And you notice how they always kind of put the federal government there. So there's a lot of tension that's happening up there. There's a lot of tensions in there, and we don't need more tension kind of sparking people who are already, I don't want any additional tension there. I want to get on, take my flight, and get where I'm going.
Yeah, I agree. I could stand behind that.
I don't disagree with anything anybody said. I just don't like the idea that everybody should always get fired.
No, I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
I think a fine would be appropriate.
Yeah, I'm with
some
you
sort of repercussion. But we can't just have we can't have our pilots. Think about how we're floating in the sky right now, and our pilots are giving political speeches or indoctrination. Whatever team you're on, just understand this. The other half of the country doesn't agree with you. And the other half of the country has a different set of beliefs. We're all Americans, especially on the freaking plane. God forbid there was an issue on the plane and the gas mask come down. You're not going to ask, "Hey, who'd you vote for?"
I think he should
There's
be fired.
major issues.
I really think he should be fired. I mean, what if you
You're
piss
still
off
sticking to that.
Totally.
You're still, okay.
Because, not everybody that says something you don't agree with or gets political should be fired. A pilot should be. What if you tick off or tripped out dude in the back goes nuts, or a flight attendant. I mean, there's repercussions from that. There's no benefit of saying something like that, and they know they shouldn't do it.
And there is a difference between saying it, like to a passenger or to a colleague, and doing it on the loudspeaker but for the entire plane to hear.
And by the way, I don't know what airlines you're on. Those things that come down aren't gas masks or oxygen masks.
No. Oxygen mask. There we go.
That's a very interesting airline. I don't want to be on that one.
In his defense, he's not doing it for political reasons. He doing it because him and his fellow colleagues are about to be fired for not being vaccinated. He's not doing it to be like, I'm Republican. He did it out of solidarity for everybody in his company that he's been working with who is about to be let go because of these policies. So he might have even voted for Biden for all that we know. We have no idea what his politics were. This was about, don't fire my friends and colleagues because of their medical decisions. So his stand wasn't to be like, I hope I piss off every Democrat in here.
Let's move on. Fair. We've had plenty of back and forth on this one. I say we go into the next story, which is American Shrinking Workforce, a Puzzle for Economists, page 2. Okay, so this is an epoch time story. America's shrinking workforce, a puzzle for economists. The U.S. economy is suffering from a labor shortage, posing a difficult puzzle for economists and policymakers to solve. Americans are quitting their current jobs at a record pace. The Labor Department showed data that quits increased to 4.3 million in August, the highest on record dating back to December 2000. A Gallup survey discovered that 48% of the working population in the United States is actively looking for a new job or watching for opportunities. The ongoing labor shortage is the single most significant threat to America's economic recovery. According to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the nation's biggest business lobbying group, Congress should drop the multi-millionaire dollar tax and spend proposals that would further undermine the economy and focus on getting Americans back to work and helping employers fill open jobs, the business group said in a statement. Yesterday, I saw an article. Kai, I send it to you. I don't know if you have it with you or not. Yesterday, there was this article that Mark Cuban tweeted out. Do you have that? Can you put that article up? I sent it to you in a group text with me, you, and Mario. I'll text it to you right now as well. Matter of fact, I'm going to send it to your iPad. I'm sending it to you right now if you see it. Yeah, the crypto story. Put that up there for people to see. Very interesting what Mark Cuban put up about crypto. Very, very interesting what Mark Cuban put up on crypto. If you can put that story up, Kai. Crypto is creating newfound wealth and job freedom for many Americans. Okay.
Yeah.
So check this out. By the way, when we bought the Bitcoin,
yes.
How much did we buy the Bitcoin originally for?
50,000. 1.5 Bitcoin, 50,000.
At $32,000.
Yes.
And we gave it to you when? We gave it to you a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
What price was it when we gave you that money, cash?
$94,000.
We gave you $94,000. We transferred over to him. So
the Bitcoin was 62,300 at that day.
When we gave it, we bought it at 32. We gave it to him at 62. So instead of giving Ricky only $50,000 in Bitcoin, he got $95,000 in his account last. We gave you a Bitcoin and a half.
Yes,
okay, Bitcoin and a half. Okay, so now watch this. Watch this here. Watch this here. Watch this article here. Okay. Whether you invested in cryptocurrency or understand what it is, there's no denying that over the last year it has demonstrated staying power. In Bitcoin, for instance, as of time of writing, is valued at $61,000 per Bitcoin, skyrocketing nearly 50%. While some preconception cryptocurrency invested young and tech-savvy individuals, possibly anti-establishment, might say the bigger picture of crypto in terms of a little more nuance. Okay, so here's what it goes to. This is the next sentence that's the key. For instance, while crypto wealth is undoubtedly growing, that doesn't necessarily mean any significant portion of people are quitting their jobs as a result. 11% of the general population reports either having personally quit their jobs or knowing someone who has as a result of their crypto investments. So Mark Cuban is saying another reason why people quit is because they made so much money in crypto right now that they're just kind of sitting there saying, I'm not a guy. But he's saying do the opposite. This doesn't mean you're wealthy officially. It just means one of your investments did well. You should go back to your work and do your job. Anyways, I'll pause. Your thoughts on the shrinking workforce, a puzzle for economists. Tom, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, what's going on right here is you got to take a look at the service economy. Who is screaming loudest about labor shortage? Restaurants, retail stores that are opened again, regardless whether it's a red or blue state. You can only have a few people. Hospitality, it's all there. And those are the people that were getting assistance. They were getting the checks from the government for assistance, and they were a certain unemployment assistance was coming from their individual states. And so what it showed you, when we only have, when this all started, we were at very low unemployment, which means we had a very low supply of workers. You screw with that supply even a little bit, it wreaks havoc. And now what you see is the service economy is looking for people. I saw the Dunkin' Donuts, and this was not a meme. This was really a Dunkin' Donuts. Hey, please be patient. Come on in. We'll get to you. And if you don't like the service, maybe you'd like a job application. Their point was we need somebody to serve you the donut. So that's number one. And then number two, with the unemployment, you don't have to mess very much with your labor bases. And maybe it is a little bit of crypto, a little bit of an up market. And I think we don't appreciate just what a wonderful engine the American economy was. And we have taken a little bit of unemployment in there over COVID impact. And now coming back with assistance programs, you don't have to take much off the top of labor to create a massive shortage. And I think a difficult puzzle for economists and policymakers. Maybe you guys need to get out a little more. Maybe you're at home eating DoorDash. All you got to do is walk down Main Street of any mid-size city and take a look. There are active now, like little help wanted signs in the
there's a lot
on the windows. And I'm like, why is there a help wanted sign on the window? They can all the job things, monster.com and everything, they're online. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you didn't need to mess very much with the labor base in America to pinch a whole lot of industries that desperately need workers.
Yeah, I'll echo what he says, and then maybe a few other things. Gallup poll. I mean, sometimes when you're being polled, do you actually give an honest answer? So I always put a little margin in there for some discrepancy with that. The empowerment that employees have right now, it's so easy to quit a job. Yeah. And they feel so empowered. Go on strike. Someone else will hire you. The government will give you money.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it troubling, to be honest with you, how powerful employees think they are. I think it's great. If you have it, use it, but whatnot. But it's just getting a little weird and a little imbalanced. Yeah. Another one of the factors is baby boomers dying. I mean, there's a legitimacy to that. More baby boomers have died in the last 2 years that were working. Yeah. That's going to skew this a little bit. And the last thing is automation. There's a lot of businesses and industries that are going deep on automation. So you combine all those things that Tom said, some of these factors, these numbers, and the pandemic, and we got a problem.
Well, a lot of people, look, we just got a letter yesterday, 2 days ago. They're giving the third stimulus. Like me and Erica, we don't cash out on them. Third stimulus. Oh, do here to apply. Bro, everybody's getting these letters. They're giving away.
Ricky got his stimulus last week. That Bitcoin. Bitcoin and a half.
But what I'm getting is they're not done giving stimulus. Why would I go back to work? Yeah. It makes no sense to go back to work. So the shortage on top of, Tom obviously is very wise when it comes down to this. But I'm getting a letter for a third time for a stimulus check. A third time. And I just got it 2 days ago. Why would I go back to work? All I got to do is pay my bills for, like a lot of these guys. And I even asked people, how did you do it? They gave me the stimulus. I paid my rent for 6 months. I kept a little money, and I'm surviving off of that. Oh, and then they're not paying their rent, by the way. Some of them are not paying their rent.
Yeah,
because now
months.
So they're sitting on this money, the majority of them, that is going to let them get through for the next, 8 to 10 months.
Stimulus is like COVID boosters. We're going to have the third, the fourth, the fifth. It's not going to stop.
We found another variant out there.
I think you make a really good point, Ricky, because 1 year, who's freaking out right now on terms of political strategy? Democrats are freaking out right now. There's a whole thing going on there.
Beautiful.
So if we think these stimulus checks are going to stop as long as they control the three houses, the three branches, I think we're missing something. I think we're going to see stimulus all the way through the midterms because it's going to be like candy to the voters.
I don't know, Tom. I have at this table I have a very minority opinion on this. I know already. Stimulus is nothing new. 40 acres and a mule is nothing new. Manifest Destiny is nothing new. There's always been an incentive. The government pays people to go do whatever it wants to do, right? So if they want to stimulate...
That's not the way it's happening right now, bro.
Sure, understood. But nothing's happening the way that it's ever happened before. Technology is different. It's a great point.
Gerard,
That's what I'm leading into.
Just remember, 40% of the money that's ever been printed in the United States, as Pat has pointed out several times, has happened in the last 20 months.
Yes. Understood. Completely. But here's the thing.
Big stacks right now.
You brought up Dunkin' Donuts before, right? If I'm working at Dunkin' Donuts and it's $12.75 an hour, All right, and I'm looking at a iced coffee being sold for $5.50. I'm saying to myself, an hour of my life is only worth 2 freaking iced coffees? No, it's the gig more than crypto, which, by the way, one of the first podcasts I did, crypto was tanking. You were kind of making fun of me for crypto. You're like, you're going to sell. I was like, absolutely not. I buy the dip, and then right? So, I mean, I don't
remember that, but okay.
I'm sure our guy at PBD Podcast Instagram can find it. But there's... crypto is the future, especially when we get into the metaverse. Crypto is the present, it's not even the future. And it's more than crypto, it's the gig economy, where the young generation is not getting married, they're not having kids, they're not buying houses, right? You talked about rent. Half these guys it's okay. Like, remember back in the day, Chris Farley had that great segment. If you don't do this, you'll be smoking the reefer and living in a van.
Matt Foley, living in a van down by the river.
Hashtag van lifestyle is a whole thing. People, they get these vans and they deck them out, and it's called mini living, and they do this thing. The young generation understands that their time is worth something to them, and it's not $12.75. What the businesses, especially these massive, large chains, have not figured out is how to attract that employee. And I think
I don't think that'll be the solution.
I don't think it's the money. I honestly think it's the hours. I think that the first person that goes, I'm going to pay your rent and you're only going to have to work 4 hours a week, for those people that don't want to be massive millionaires.
Then the business is not sustainable. Yeah. I think this is the only route on what those companies are going to be doing. Here's exactly what those companies are going to be doing. They're going to stop trying to get those young guys to work for them. Mm-hmm. They're going to automate every single thing, and they're going to say, no problem, buddy. You don't want to work for $12.50, which is the minimum wage? It's not really that. It doesn't take that much to flip a burger, bud. You don't want to be a barista for $15 an hour? Totally fine. We'll automate all of this. Eventually, it'll be automated. And short term, the employers win. Long term, the employees win short term. Mm-hmm. The employer wins long term. Sure. Because the employers also, if any time you're looking for a solution, here's how this works. You can sit there and say, well, dude, screw it. I'm just going to go out there and do this. You're right. Every time I've done that as a human being, I made a short-term decision, and it was successful for a month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Long-term, it was not successful.
Correct.
These decisions, what you're talking about, could be short-term success. It's going to be catastrophic long-term because the math doesn't make sense. Now, let me flip it on you. Let me flip it on you.
I just think they're making a decision. They're making a cultural decision.
I get that, and they're going to pay price for it. There's a price to be paid for. Now, let me flip it on you. Let me flip it on you where I agree with you, where we can go into a meta conversation as well. I think we're old. Officially, we are old. Let's face it. Everybody at this table is officially old, okay? Everybody. If you're, and let me unpack what I mean by that. The younger generation is about to do a clinic on us, and it's going to happen, and people have to be ready for it.
Case studies.
And you have to be so prepared for what's about to happen, okay? The other day I'm sitting there, and I'm watching my kid, my oldest son. My youngest son, you guys know what he looks like. He looks like he's, he's ready to go play today, football, all this stuff. I was with him this morning, just seeing this guy, athletic, wants to be out there, right? My oldest son wants to make video games. My oldest son wants to go out there and play video games. My oldest son wants to sit there, and he's great at playing video games, right? And these guys that are very good at playing video, and it's a different kind of wiring. And I'm sitting there as a parent saying, officially today, there's more people watching gamers than watching sports. Let me say this one more time. There's more people watching gamers today than watching sports. So let's go back. Twitch. Go to when you and I were 14 years old. Go to when you and I were 14 years old. Go to the 14-year-old Gerard, the 14-year-old Adam, the 14-year-old Tom, Ricky, the 14-year-old. Go to that age, right? And then make that today. What would you and I be doing today if we're 14 years old? When I was 14 years old, we were at Shoal Canyon playing baseball with Armond and Artin and all these guys trying to see who can hit that home run over that fence in Shoal Canyon. When I was 14 years old, we were playing at Artie White trying to dunk on an 8-foot rim because it was a junior high school, not even a junior high school, it was a middle school, and we could dunk. You know those rims that were lower? And you're like,
8.5.
Sick, 8.5, right? It was sick. You would play over there with all these guys. When I was 14 years old, we were jumping the fence and going to the swimming pool at the high school, and we were swimming. When I was 14, we'd go to Tommy's Burger and buy Tommy's, even though we were broke. When I was 14 years old, we were going to a store called Beckett off of Broadway, and we'd buy baseball cards. We'd go to another place that was a batting cage of, I think it was called Camelot, and we would play base. Remember that? Camelot.
Yeah.
When I was 14 years old, I'd walk to Glendale Galleria and walk around and go to Haagen-Dazs and get a job at the freaking Haagen-Dazs. That's what we did. I played Fester's Quest. I made a piece with Peter Tunney on my house that's got Fester's Quest there because I played hundreds of hours playing Fester's Quest. Didn't get paid shit for it because nobody saw how great I was. I played Super Mario Kart. But I tell you, if I played Fester, and if I was 14 today playing Fester's Quest, and all of a sudden I got 17 million people watching me, I'm probably going to play Fester's Quest and dominate the Fester's Quest game. So we have to know what direction we're going. The first time I heard about the whole NFT thing, I'm like, what are these guys talking about? I interviewed people who sold it for $69 million, and I interviewed Metaverse, who's a valuator from Singapore, who bought it for $69 million, who's a Bitcoin billionaire. I interviewed both of them within a span of a week or something to see both of their perspectives. And Metaverse talked to me. He was the first. If you've never seen this interview, you have to watch this interview. He's the first guy that made me say, I had one of those moments where I'm sitting there talking to him. I'm like, this guy freaking makes sense. This guy makes sense. He says, Patrick, where do you live right now? Do you have a nice house? I would assume you have a nice house. Well, one day you're going to close your eyes and there's going to be people spending more time in their world, meta world, than they're going to the virtual world, than they're going to in the real world. And in the virtual world, you're going to own yourself a waterfront house. You're going to have friends. You're going to have features. You're going to do certain things. And there's going to be museums. And I'm going to own one of the most incredible museums, and for you to come inside my museum and watch and see the everydays that I bought from people for $69 million, you have to buy a ticket to see it. But the only way you see it, it's going to be the last room in my museum for you to see it in my world. And you're going to have to buy the ticket to go in and see it. Here's a guy that's worth $1 billion on crypto is sitting there saying, I bought this thing for $69 million. We are living in a different world. So let's transition into this meta story and see where this is going to go. And
that's going to be interesting.
Gerard, I'm going to go to you first on this one here. So let me just get right into this on page one, guys, with Facebook. What was just announced. By the way, is it fair to say that all you guys seen the video with Zuck and what the CNET video was? One of them is a 6-minute one. The other one's a 12-minute one. You've all seen it. Okay, fantastic. Facebook is changing its name to Meta as it focuses on the virtual world, a Washington Post story. Last week, Facebook changed its corporate name to Meta, moving aggressively to distance itself from a social media business embroiled in crisis and rebrand itself as a forward-looking creator of a new digital world known as the Metaverse. In a 75-minute online presentation, Zuck urged users to adjust their thinking about the company, which he said had outgrown its ubiquitous and problematic social media app, a platform that will continue to be known as Facebook. Instead, he said the company plans to focus on what Zuckerberg described as a next wave of computing, a virtual universe where people will roam freely as avatars, attending virtual business meetings, shopping in virtual stores, and socializing at virtual get-togethers. Don't forget that when Philip Morris changed its name from Altria, it was still selling cigarettes that cause cancer, tweeted Democratic lawyer Mark Elias. And there's a few other things here about Meta. I'll pause a little bit, but we'll go to that part right there. So there's some people that are excited about it, some people that are not. Gerard, your thoughts on Meta?
It's inevitable, and you talk about like a disruptive technology. Look at how much time people spend online right now. You have, I know guys, man, that as soon as they get home from work, the first thing they do is they get into GTA. They've been playing GTA for 2-3 years now. They've got millions of GTA dollars. They've got hundreds of GTA cars. They've got houses. They have this entire sub-life where their GTA life is like their real life, Grand Theft Auto. Same thing with World of Warcraft. And I think this metaverse is going to make that technology to the next generation seem like what NES is to us. Like, you know how like when Sega first came out and we were like, these graphics can't get any better, my God, it's incredible. And now you look at the graphics today and it's insane. This metaverse, you're going to have a generation of people who just literally lay on their couch like they're hooked into the Matrix. And they walk around with their eyes closed all day. They have relationships online. They'll have sex online. They'll have jobs online. They will wake up. There will be people that work in the metaverse. The only time that they will be out of the Oculus, the only time that they will be in reality is when they have to eat, they have to shit, and they have to sleep. They may even be able to sleep in the metaverse. I know that sounds draconian. I don't necessarily know that it's bad. I think that it's bad. I think you're going to have society kind of drift into two different directions, in two actual realities. You're going to have a reality in the functional world, the real world, if you will, and a completely separate reality, probably with different rules, different governments in this digital reality. I think the actual world itself is going to split into two simultaneous realities.
Let me ask you, what has dramatically changed in the last 40 years? Let me ask the question, and then you give me some
You
other...
say 4 or 40?
40 years. What has dramatically changed in the last 40 years? Okay, so how we communicate with each other, obviously because of social media, dramatically
Internet.
changed. Email,
Cell
internet,
phones.
fine. Okay, cell phones, fine. How about dating? Has dating dramatically changed in the last 20 years? Forget about 40 years. So
10
dating...
years.
Absolutely.
Tinder.
Dating 10 years ago to today is
Okay,
completely different.
fantastic. Let me ask you this. So what were some things that happened that parents were worried about? Parents were worried about rock and roll music with Elvis Presley, hips moving, it's going to get girls to do this. What if my daughter does this? Okay, has music changed dramatically from 80s, I want to know what love is, to now, hey, I was, doing your girl with my Gucci, yeah, so, hit 'em up is slightly different than, what do you call it? Whatever songs you want to talk about, right?
Mathis, right.
Faithfully or Don't Stop Believing. It's a very different narrative with the songs. Okay, how much has porn changed? Has porn changed over the last 40 years?
I've never watched it.
I know, nobody at this table is watching, but for the people that do watch porn, what I do know is Tom knows a lot about marijuana. For whatever reason, Gerard knows a lot about porn. I don't know what it is. Okay, but here's a question, though. How much has porn changed the last 40 years? Okay, so go back 40 years ago. 40 years ago was what? VHS, LA Express, Playboy Magazine,
John Holmes.
Hustler, all of these things. So how's it changed now? Then it went to VHS, then it went to, let's just say, Napster, then it went to, CDs, then YouTube, not YouTube, but Pornhub, whatever. How much has it changed, though? Has it changed really that much?
You can have your favorite
I know,
porn
but has
star on
it
your phone.
dramatically changed? Has the experience changed? It's still you. As a single man or person that's watching it, you're consuming. So the part where I'm going with this is
Consumer experience has changed significantly, but from the 10,000-foot view, no. At the end of the day, it's still you and your hand.
By the way, you just gave me more. That's where I was going with this. VR porn is Metaverse, by the way. But the part I was going with you is the following. How much has being a dancer 20 years ago versus today? Is it even worth you dancing today instead of being on Pornhub?
I don't know how strip clubs exist.
That's the point.
I really don't.
But that's something that's really a business model. So do you think people are still want to go see the real strip club versus going on Pornhub?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So perfect. If you're saying yes, do you think a 20-year-old? I wonder if the demographics show the younger generation is as excited about strip clubs as 40-years are? I don't know.
Not, no.
Okay, so then we have to go and try to think like an 18-year-old, 20-year-old today with what Meta's going to do and how they're going to process this with versus us. Because to them, it's going to be normal. To us, it's kind of like weird, right?
Yes.
So we have to think like the people who think it's normal, not just think like us who think, dude, this shit is weird, right? So how much has it really changed for them?
I can see it being to the point where, like, the government has to regulate how much time you can spend in the metaverse, because people will spend 20 hours a day in the metaverse. It's so much better than their regular life. You're born into poverty, you're short, you're fat, you're whatever, and in the metaverse you're tall, you're attractive, you're rich. They're gonna live their life there as opposed to in the real world. It's so much so that the government will probably regulate, you've been online for 10 hours, and then there'll be black market metaverse places where people can go into somebody's basement and hook back in. It's a drug. They even talk right now, video games are a drug. There was that athlete that lost his career because he was playing the tight end for the Broncos. He literally had a Grand Theft Auto addiction. He was like, I skipping practice to play Grand Theft Auto. It was serotonin in his brain. It was, we're all addicted to our cell phones. We're addicted. We're nonstop addicted.
But okay, so folks, if you're listening to this, I'm actually curious. I want to read your commentary. What are your thoughts? What's your biggest, matter of fact, what's your biggest concern? And then we'll talk about, the stuff that could be good.
I'll make one more point because I've been talking too much. But we talked about this. When was the last time? Remember when you would come home and there would be one phone and somebody would call during dinner. Your dad would get so pissed off and you'd take the phone and you'd put it off the hook so nobody else could contact you that night.
Yeah.
When was the last time our phones been off the hook?
Yeah.
Never.
Well, I'll give you another perspective here. The rules of the game have changed. Back, you said, what's the difference between 20 years ago, 40 years ago? Back in the day, the rules were completely different. They've been flipped. What were the rules? Don't get in cars with strangers. Don't meet random people online. Get out of your house and do things and play. Yeah. Now it's, you're getting in cars with strangers. Ricky's doing business deals, learning last names while he's in cars, right? People are meeting people online on the regular. That's how people date these days. Speaking of not getting out of your house, now you're locked down in your house. The rules of the game have changed. But Facebook has basically put the world on notice that they are coming after the future. They are not just a social media platform at this point where you can, rate hot girls or be friends or check the news. They're basically saying, live your life in our world now, right? And this is what Mark Zuckerberg, more than anyone, with this move right here, I could see taking over the world. People talk about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. Mark Zuckerberg is now coming after your mind and your dreams and basically your entire life with this Meta. It's no longer Facebook.
It's like a Sims game almost. Remember Sims?
It's the Matrix. It's Avatar. And there's parts of it that like, hey, wake up, see what's going on here. Yep. Tico's living in this world right now. And there's parts of it like if I'm a boomer out there and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? If there's anything we've learned from this past 2 years of Zoom meetings and how effective it is, and hey, you can just be anywhere. There's something, the fact that we're sitting here and hey, how you doing, Pat? We're touching.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about humans need interaction.
Yep.
And this metaverse is cute and all, but at some point you need to get out of your house and do real stuff.
Okay, somebody just said, Mr. Bruce Skim, and I want to hear from others, Gerard, to see what others have to say as well. I'm going to go to them. Tom, I'm going to come to you. Ricky, if you got thoughts, I want to hear from you as well. So here's what some people have to say. Matthew Mason said Zuck is influenced, okay? Stefan Corriva said Real Player One, which I don't know if you've seen that movie or not. It's actually very interesting, yes. Marisol Esparza said obesity is a concern for our children. Mr. Bruce said Meta is evil. TRC Turtle Island said Will Durant, the age of dissidence, which I've read a lot of Will Durant back in the days. So the CJ Des, first time I've ever heard a comment like that. Adam is wrong. The next one, Andy H, it's not the real world. It's a jail. It's Matrix. Okay, Dancy Antil said control freak rules. So look, it's concerning, but sometimes parents are worried about losing their kids. It's like I'm gonna lose my kids. This is one of those things where you can actually lose your kids and the attention. Tom, what are your thoughts?
So,
as a parent, what are you thinking about this?
Well, I've been worried. I spent a little bit of time in video games and in the industry, and I can take you back to March 1999, which was the origin of Sony Online Entertainment to EverQuest. And EverQuest was one of the first massively multiplayer online role-playing games where you had an avatar, you collect stuff, you buy weapons, you buy things, and people would go in that and they would be playing for 20 hours straight. True story. And it unlocked for me understanding, you know what? The human capacity for addiction and to satisfy something beyond yourself has never changed. Our ability as humans to be addicted to whether it's video games or drugs or music or something and to get so immersed in it that it's there. Now that really worried me. There were people that had stopped playing EverQuest that were still paying $19.99 a month, and people would say, why are you doing that? You're paying $240 a year.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose my avatar. I got my avatar, I got all my activity, I got everything in there. And that told me right there just how scary it was. And I started seeing, Fortnite. Remember Fortnite? Fortnite first came out, and you dropping into the island, Fortnite, and baseball guys. Do you remember when there was two of those consoles that was in the Boston Red Sox locker room, and they were playing it, and David Price missed a start because he had cramping in his thumb?
Wow.
Because on the thing, he was playing Fortnite to 3 a.m. He comes to the...
David Price was Cy Young winner. Was he a Cy Young winner or no? I thought he was a Cy Young.
Well, he was World Series MVP.
I worked a 10-pitch walk-off David Price one time.
So I think as a parent, you better put timers, and you need human interaction, and you should put timers and restrictions on your kids getting in these immersive video games, because the gaming industry knew in 1999 there was billions and billions of dollars to be made off your kids because of our natural.
How much worse is this, though? That's what I want to know. Is this like...
It is 9 times, 10
No,
times
it's 100 times worse because Zuckerberg's involved. All right? And I agree with Adam. He wants to take over the world. Here's his biggest problem. He's the world's worst salesman. He literally is. He has no charisma. You automatically hate him if you know his track record. So he's not going to be able to sell people on this new concept. I don't like him. I'm less interested in Meta. If he had someone with some charisma,
he looks like it.
It would be different if Elon Musk was in front of this. I mean, you might believe it or want to get into it. Hey, the whole world you guys are describing is scary to me. My kids aren't allowed to play Fortnite. I'd never let them spend any time playing those addictive games. There's no way. I prefer the real world.
Smart man.
I prefer human beings. It's just the way it is. And that's not going to change.
Yeah.
And I can understand. I mean, this is just a trap. This is a jail cell for young people that are going to get sucked into this. They're going to remain single their whole life. They will be able to live their whole life inside this metaverse, and Zuckerberg knows it. So, this is a convenient way for him to rebrand the company, which he's still going to be all involved in Facebook. I mean, that's not going away what they do, but it's a marketing move for him. And I think him as the world's worst salesman, which he is, he's not going to be able to rule the world as quickly as he wants to.
As much as I agree with you, for being the world's worst salesman, he's doing a lot of sales. He's doing okay.
No, but I'm
like,
talking
he's
about
done
him on
right.
camera. I'm talking about when he is front and center. I know his company is doing great. Of course it is. He's got the best engineers in the world. I'm talking about him as the face of it.
I don't think that's hard to argue with.
But you made a great point, and whoever did that super chat is right about it being a little bit of a jail. Look at how they're controlling information right now. Look at how they're controlling speech. Say the wrong thing, you're shut down. Imagine being addicted to that metaverse. This is where you're online. This is where your job is. This is where your girlfriend is. That's online. You're dating somebody in 5,000 miles away, halfway around the world. They're on the metaverse. You're in love with this life, but you said the wrong thing. So now we're going to shut you down for 30 days. You can't get on the metaverse. You can't go to work. You voted the wrong way. You ate red meat. It was detected in your bioscans detected
it's
that you
the social
ate
credit
red
score
meat.
that they're doing in China,
exactly.
but in the metaverse now in America.
They'll throttle your reach. Here you are, all your friends.
It is very scary.
See you.
It is very scary. As people who have grown up in the real world, the thought of this, but Pat made up a good point. If you're 12, 15, you've got kids all between 6 and 15, like this is quite the concern if you're a parent.
Let me. Okay, so that's the part. That's the part. I read a Time magazine article that said minimalists, how the next generation is minimalist, and this was like 7 years ago. And in the article, not minimalist. It was talking about narcissists, how narcissists they are. And they were talking about all these 14-year-old kids want to do is take pictures, the lips, the duck face, all this other stuff. And these kids are spoiled, and they're having issues because all they care about is how many likes they're gonna get, and It's such a problem. It's catastrophic. And then you know how the article ends? If you think this is catastrophic and it's the end of the world, maybe it just means you're too old. Yeah. So that's the hardest thing that for us we have to consider, because every time something new happens, we think it's the end of the world.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
We think it's the doomsday. And my only challenge to all of us is, I don't know if it is, I don't know if it's not, but I will tell you what's the biggest mistake. If you don't immerse yourself to learn about this world, you're screwed. Because the biggest thing is to be ignorant about it. It's better to be, learning about it. Yes. So if I'm a parent, I'm definitely learning about this stuff more than anybody else is, because I want to find out what the hell is going to happen. You're losing your kid. Your kid is sitting there 2 hours upstairs, not coming downstairs. He's got this stuff on his eyes, and like he's Oculus 2, whatever it is that they're looking at it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You're basically saying the last thing that you should be is dismissive. Think about all the people who've been dismissive.
I would be overly
Bitcoin,
involved.
crypto, whatever, NFTs. How ridiculous is that? That's never going to work over the last handful of years. And you're dismissing people's perspectives and feelings, and you're missing out on the opportunity.
I think being aware, you said something a few podcasts back, which is really great, right? The people who are paranoid survive, right? The paranoid survive. So I think it is good to be skeptical and cynical about these things, but at the end of the day, it's a tool, right? It's technology, and you can use it for amazing things. You were talking about Zoom, but there's something about being here.
Yes.
That's going to put you here. We're going to all be sitting next to each other. We're going to feel each other. We're going to see each other. You know what I mean? So
listen, why don't we do an Oculus 2 giveaway? How about we do that? An Oculus 2 giveaway, literally. If you give $20 to the super chat, which we've already said, if we get to 10,000 live, we'll give away $10,000. Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. If we get to 7,500 live, I'll give away an Ethereum. How about that? I'll give one Ethereum away to anybody if we get to 7,500. Is that okay with you?
Hey, that's
great.
Tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your kids.
But to participate, you got to do a $20 super chat.
$20 super
So
chat.
okay, so let's do one right now. Right now, what we're doing right now, we're gonna do the We're gonna do the Oculus 2 virtual reality giveaway with a signed book. So Samvel, if you want to put that up so we can take a look at it, it's the next giveaway.
Can we give a quick shout out to Kai? He's misspelled nothing today. On fire right now.
First of all, he hasn't been asked to spell anything.
There we go.
Don't give him too much
You're
credit.
0 for 0.
Get
You're
his
still
ego up.
You got no issues.
There we go.
All right, so Jose's the last winner. Let's see what we got. Let's see how many names it's going to be now. Check this out. Look at it. Boom. Put it.
Gerard's rooting
Oh, need a bigger screen.
Let's see what we got. Here we go. Here we go. Oculus 2 and a sign book.
We're never going to see Gerard again.
Here we go, baby.
Who is it? Get out of here!
Illegal. Can Gerard win?
He got the Oculus 2.
Is Gerard allowed?
I guess we'll never see Gerard again.
There's going to be a lot of people that are very skeptical of Gerard winning right now. I don't know.
We'll never see it again.
Gerard wins Oculus 2. That's it. Gerard's porn experience about to change here.
Oh.
Okay, so Oculus 2.
This seems a little scripted right now. I don't know.
Good thing it wasn't the PS5 giveaway.
Although his reaction seemed raw.
Inside job.
I wanted that Ethereum though, man. Damn.
Okay, well, listen, we keep going. So now Gerard's out of it. What are the chances of one of the guys winning?
But Gerard gave $10,000 to be in there a bunch of times.
Oh my God.
All right, so
No
Gerard.
ticky, no laundry, David. No ticky, no laundry.
Let's continue, guys. If you want to be in the next raffle that we're doing, super chat, $20.
We're getting a lot of rigged comments right now, Gerard. We're getting a lot of rigged.
We get to
I don't know.
In the name
7,500.
of the Democratic Party, it's not rigged, it's fortified. So
Okay.
We get to 7,500. It'll be an Ethereum. We'll get to 10,000. It's $10,000 cash. But we only have an hour and 20 minutes left of the podcast.
I can't believe that.
Stop
and 20
the
minutes
steal.
in the podcast.
Stop the
I
steal.
told you. What I tell you
This is
yesterday.
an insurrection at its finest
All
right now. This is January 6th. Come to life. Gerard winning the Oculus.
together, strong.
Let's
baby.
continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Yahoo, a Yahoo story. Yahoo pulls out of China, citing challenging environment. Pretty interesting for Yahoo to make a story out of this, by the way. This is an AP News story. The withdrawal was largely symbolic, as many of the company's services were already blocked by China's digital censorship. But recent government moves to expand its control over tech companies, generally including its domestic giants, may have tipped the scales for Yahoo. Yahoo is the latest foreign tech company to exit China. Google gave up several years ago. Microsoft's professional networking platform, LinkedIn, said last month it would shutter its Chinese side, replacing it with a job board instead. The departures illustrate the choices internet companies face in a huge potential market, but one where the government requires them to censor content and keywords deemed politically sensitive or inappropriate. Chinese laws stipulate that companies operating in the country must hand over data if requested by authorities, making it difficult for Western firms to operate in China, as they may also face pressure back home over giving in to China's demands. Okay, so Zenner, I'm going to you first, and I'm going to Ricky.
Okay.
Go for it.
Oh, start talking now?
Hey,
We
Tom.
get to- no,
Hey, Tom
sorry,
Zenner here.
I was in the metaverse.
Hey.
My bad. Let me exit real quickly and deal with humans. Third dimension. Clearly, it's becoming very difficult for tech companies to interact with the Chinese government. And take away the population, 1.3 billion, the biggest market in the world, for them to be bailing this quickly speaks volumes. You know, so I'll let you guys talk more about it. I'm waiting for the Chinese Taiwan porn math teacher, and then I can really give you some good
you are,
insight there.
Tom.
But you know
Yeah.
what?
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
I think if you really compare what's going on in China and what's going on here, Tom, it's really no different, because what America's using is just pressure as far as what you can say, what you can't say. The Chinese government is just simply telling you you're not going to do it. American government is not doing that, but what they're doing is they're grabbing the media and telling you you can't do that. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes.
America's doing
Black
the
and
same
white.
thing. It's
Government, yeah.
yes. So it's like Chinese government are just like straight up don't care, and with us, we're experiencing the same thing as China, except that we're using the social justice warriors to do it. I think that to me that's.
I think you make a really good
they're also
point. I
throttling
think
it, yeah.
Ricky makes a great point here.
It's the same thing,
It's
Tom.
like there's two cars are speeding. One in
Yes.
China, one in America.
Right.
In America, the guys in the cars next to you start yelling at you and are
Yes.
pointing at you. In China, they hit the remote control button and your car stops.
That's it. I mean, it's really, if you look at it, it's really no different. And as a matter of fact, TikTok, the guy, I can't remember the guy from TikTok. He was just interviewed, or they were doing an interview.
the ByteDance CEO.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
So the guy at TikTok, and then so he was at the Senate floor, and I think it was Senator Kennedy, or if not, it was from Texas. not Ted Cruz. Oh my God, I can't forget. I'm drawing a blank.
John Cornyn?
No. I think he's from Texas. Like hardcore. He's like another Kennedy. Republican. No, he's a Hispanic guy. What's his name? I can't remember. He's Cuban. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now. Well, he's interviewing
Ricky,
him.
it's going to be okay. Make your point.
He's interviewing him, and what they're doing is TikTok sharing data with China on Americans, and they're saying, well, why can't we get your information but you can get ours? And so he won't answer the question. No, we don't share. It's our mother company. So but the requirements is that you have to share all data with them, and that main company, mother companies in China, and TikTok is in America. No, we've been knowing that.
More than TikTok, if you believe General Spalding, if you are on their fiber optic network,
right,
they have your information.
Well, let me ask you this. So I got two questions for you guys. Jen is saying Ted Cruz, but you said it's not Ted Cruz.
No, it wasn't Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz
You're
is
not
a
thinking
Cuban
of Ricky
guy.
Rubio, are you?
No, not Ricky Rubio. He's
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio.
You're thinking of your
Ricky
Phoenix
Rubio's
Suns
not
days, buddy.
Ricky Rubio is apparently a billionaire, but anyways, that's a different story. Let's go back to
Talking about John Cornyn? Who are you talking
No, I
about?
think it's Ted Cruz. She
Guys,
might be
it's
right.
totally fine. It's Ted
Yeah,
Cruz.
fine.
The Cuban guy's Ted Cruz. But here's the point. I got two questions for you.
It
I
is
got two
Ted Cruz.
questions.
It is Ted Cruz.
I
Just
got
for
two
the record.
questions. Jenna's right.
Thank
So
you,
I got
Jen.
two questions.
Yes,
By the way,
Ted
you
Cruz.
said Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
So I got two questions for you. Number one question in this story here with TikTok, okay, which is Yahoo, but you guys brought up TikTok. So I got two questions. One, how close was it for Trump to shut down TikTok in U.S.? Do you guys remember the time?
Very close.
Do you remember how concerned people were in America?
Yes.
Okay. Number two, in regards to TikTok, do you think if a DeSantis or a Trump gets elected, do you think, chance-wise, do you think they'll go after TikTok to shut it down? Give me a percentage. Highly likely. Okay.
More than any social platform, TikTok is on the chopping block.
Tell you what I'd like to see them do, and I can't believe I'm saying this for government interaction, but after your conversation with the Facebook moderator, the fact that those guys have access to everybody's
Messages.
conversations,
Yeah.
that's got to
On
go.
Facebook or on your phone?
Anybody.
Yeah.
No,
People out said
that's
it.
not my question. I didn't see it.
Facebook messages, WhatsApp, Instagram,
The
any
guy's
Facebook,
working there, can see your message with anybody. I said, so who did you go and look at? He says, I don't care about what people say. All I care about is what my cousin had to say about me. You saw that, yeah. So, but here's the thing. Let me go back to the question, guys. Let me go back to it because this is leading to a point. So, what is the chances of the next administration if a DeSantis, a Trump, a Republican gets elected that TikTok gets banned in the U.S.?
I don't know if it's any
India's
Republican.
already done it.
Very high.
India banned 100 apps.
I don't know if it's any Republican. I think it's going to be either DeSantis or Trump. They're going to go after TikTok.
What do you think, Gerard? Give me your percentage. Give me 5%, 10%.
5.
Okay, Zenner, what's
I'll
yours?
say 75.
Okay, Tom, what do you say?
I'm with Zinner. I say 75.
What do you say?
Well, I don't think anyone's going to do it more than Trump. And Trump was very close, so I'm saying 25%.
25%. Okay, so now this is the next question here. In regards to Yahoo leaving, in regards to Microsoft leaving and changing LinkedIn into a job posting site, whatever, in regards to Google saying, dude, we've been out 3 years. We're not dealing with China. And these are liberal companies that are in China. So this is not political that we're talking about here. They're just leaving because the business model doesn't work. Here's the last question for you. How soon do you think, if ever, Hollywood leaves China? Do you think anything will be a tipping point for Hollywood or sports to
absolutely
say,
not.
we want to leave
Because
that
that's where all
market?
the money comes from. If China cut Hollywood off, that's how it would happen. But there's no way Hollywood's cutting them
What
off
would
if the money's
cause
still
that?
coming.
What could cause for Hollywood producers, executive producers, and the sports, NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL to say, you know what? We don't care about getting that contract in China. We're out.
I think that they want to right now. I think that they really, really want to. I think they're waiting for somebody else to show them.
To China or the U.S.?
We talked about this. We talked about this with the Manning cast. All the Manning cast is, and it's massively popular. The Manning cast is just a live stream. It's YouTube. It's Twitch. It's national television taking digital technology and implementing it in their professional format. So whoever is the first person to deviate, take that disruption and deviate and say, you know what? We're going to go direct to consumer. Forget the movie theaters. We don't need a revenue-based model where people have to go and buy popcorn. We're going to make something, and it's going to be pay-per-view. If you want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you have to be on Ricky Aguilar TV. I got a 10 movie deal with The Rock. He got paid $200 million. You got to see The Rock here, and it's going to be $2.99 each of his movies.
Okay, take me back to now. Something sparks the sports leagues. They want to leave, but they don't. Take me back to that.
Okay, so the sports leagues particularly, right? Right now what they're doing is they're trying to figure out streaming rights. Right? You look at Major League Baseball, John Boy Media actually pays for YouTube streaming rights to do all of the highlights, it's remarkably cheap. They've pivoted away from where they used to hunt these guys down and be like, you're using our rights, it's $1,000. To now it's like, oh, it's free marketing for us. Yeah, it should give us like $20 a video, and now you own the rights to it. So they have their product, and then you're going to have this micro streaming ecosystem, and somebody's going to aggregate these places, these people all together. It's going to be like, if you like baseball, you have your 25 favorite streamers that are watching the baseball game at the same time, and you can click and you can watch Patrick call a baseball game. If you don't like Joe Buck, you can watch Adam Soss
right,
call a basketball game.
It'll be the 11 months of Pirate Bay and Napster, where they had all the illegal music, and you just went there and you could see everything.
That is a perfect example.
And remember Pirate Bay?
Yes.
And Pirate Bay and Napster and Bear Share. Those are the three that ended up in handcuffs. Boom. They were gone because...
And then what came out of that? iTunes. And iTunes, they said the CD's dead.
And legal Napster.
The CD is dead. I don't need ESPN if I'm only watching one show. Why do I need the whole channel? You're going to be able to buy per episode. I don't want to buy an NFL Network. I just want to watch the Mannings.
So I understand cable,
Manningcast,
satellite,
$2.99.
streaming rights. Go back to Pat's question about
if it's super specific,
leaving China, about getting the MLB to say I've had enough.
Tom, do you think, you're somebody that thinks about this stuff, do you think any singular event can happen where all sports unite and they say we're out of China? Kai, think about it. I may come to you next.
I think it's a human rights thing. I think it could be Taiwan. I think it's a human rights thing, and it's
like Ines Kanter is talking about.
I think there's a leak in use of the data, and the rest of the world realize, holy crap, that's what they can do with all this data.
Tom, if you get away from advertising revenue, you don't need those people. You don't need 1.3 billion person marketplace. If it's VOD, 330
He's asking
million
about
Americans.
What would cause a sudden unification and departure following Yahoo, following Google, following TikTok.
Long story short, make it more profitable domestically. How do you make it more profitable domestically? I think you do individual consumer VOD.
I agree with you. That's the business side. Pat was asking me, and I think as soon as there is a human rights violation, as soon as there's a massive leak where people realize, wait a minute, all my stuff from TikTok somehow ended up over there, and this is what they're doing.
But Tom, that's happening now, and nobody cares. Everybody knows that China uses slave labor. Nobody doesn't wear things that are made in China. Everybody knows.
That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. What I'm trying to say is, okay, so again, I think desperately, if America needs anything right now, is one enemy that the left, middle, right, everybody agrees on.
Yep.
Desperately, we need one enemy that everybody is convinced this is the number one enemy. What does China need to do for everyone in America to say what Russia used to be 40 years ago when the movie Rocky came out, that China becomes that? What do they need to do, Kai? From a 23-year-old incredible typer. Go ahead, tell us. What do you think?
Just to piggyback first on what could the sports do, I think if more players like Ines Kanter step up and on the different teams, then they would create enough headaches for the NBA to maybe even consider just pulling out. Because if China already isn't showing all the Celtics games, imagine if then a player on Lakers, a player on some of the big teams, and then they're not showing half the games already. At that point, you've reached the tipping point of maybe where, you know what, maybe it's not worth it anymore. Because then they've essentially sabotaged enough to where it's now you're playing like Tetris and trying to figure out what games can actually go through, and then you're just getting pennies on the dollar anyway, and at that point they pull out. And then that would just have to be going
Zenner,
through
what do you
sport to
think?
sport.
I think the only way it could realistically happen is the government forced the NBA to not do business with China anymore, sort of like China does with their tech companies or with our tech companies coming over there. Here's the other thing. I think it's very interesting that Adam Silver hasn't said anything about Ines Kanter yet. Nothing, right? He got away with saying way more radical things than the GM for the Rockets did at the time. And then look at the reaction to John Cena with his comment when the movie came out, when he had the comment about Taiwan. He could not backpedal fast enough and apologize and damn near start bawling as he was doing it. So I think Hollywood is more entrenched in China with less chance of them leaving. I think the NBA looks at it like this. If they can replace the revenue stream, that's the only way it could happen.
Okay, so let me ask you 4 questions here.
Taiwan, guys.
Can I make 4 points here? 4 questions here, okay? So I'm gonna write out four causes of that taking place. Tell me which one of these are more likely of happening, okay, of leaving China permanently. Number 1, a government regulation, okay, where the government says you can't do it.
U.S.
okay?
government.
U.S. government. Number 2 is Adam Silver going out there and going against China. Okay. Number 3 is the face of the league, athlete, a Mike Trout, a KD, a LeBron, a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes type of guy, or fan base coming together and boycotting and saying, hey, I cannot understand why you guys are supporting China. Which of those four is more likely to happen? Which one of those four will have the most influence? I'll ask. Is it the government?
No.
Is it silver?
I think the fan base
is least.
And no, the most.
Okay.
Yes. People awakening.
I could tell you what's the least, the face of the league, because the Players Association will hammer them. Because the face of the league can say what he wants. He's still making $200 million with a shoe deal.
Yeah.
But they got to protect everybody else in that union.
Well, I'll just use a case example to shout out to the biz doc of myself. I don't think most Americans, single mom, 2 kids, just trying to pay her bills, I don't think she's thinking about China on a daily basis.
No, of course not.
Something more than anything that I've learned since being on the PBD podcast, doing this every day, is holy shit, flashing red lights. Look out what's going on for China. You know, we call China the CCP. I think there should be another C in there. The Chinese controlling Communist Party. If there's anything you don't like being a capitalist, is someone telling you this is what you need to do and this is how you to live your life. They want control. They're controlling their population. And next thing you know, like Gerard says, they want to control the world. So unless the single mom of 2 in America and Kansas wakes up and says, holy crap, this is what's going on in China, we're just kind of sleepwalking through life. Because, you know, this is not our major concern, but it should be at the top of our list.
I think government's number one on your list. I would put government the number one most likely reason it would happen.
I'm with Zinner because the fan base, you know, will be fractured. Some will care, some won't. The face of the league will be told by the players' side, the players' union, to shut up. No commissioner holding streaming, cable, satellite broadcast rights around this globe will do it. But if they move on Taiwan and we move economic sanctions, the government is going to tell people to moderate business with China because we're going to try and pull them back in line.
You would hope that they would, but our government, I'm convinced half of them are beholden
You would be
to
surprised
China.
the economic impact on the United States. There are industries such as semiconductor that are going to be massively impacted if China moves across there. You think chips are difficult now? You think chips are expensive now? Let me tell you, they're not. There are 3 things that they're going after in China. One is this historical pride thing, but that's like number 3.
Sure.
Number 2 is market share of chips, and number 2 is to limit the alternative manufacturing locations.
Well, number 1 is control of information for sure. And I will say this, and I agree with you, and this is the beauty of this podcast, and this is what we can do. We do a terrible job. I think we can all agree. We do a terrible job of this country, perhaps intentionally, of teaching what capitalism really is, of saying the consumer, the fan base, the consumer holds all the power.
Right.
The government changes. It changes with the winds, right? The consumer decides.
Are you quoting Joe Dirt here, by the way?
Joe Dirt, yeah.
Hey, it's the consumer that you need to pay attention
bro.
to.
The consumer can change everything tomorrow. If you decide that, you know what, Ines Cantor's right. Forget China. I'm not buying a single thing from the NBA that's made in China. And it wouldn't take a lot of people. I tell this to people. Oh, it's last call. I tell this to people all the time, man.
Get your cigarette.
With student loans, if you guys really wanted student loans to go away, get on a campaign and get 3% of all people with student loans to refuse to pay them back. And renegotiate.
So in other words, from what we got from this discourse back and forth, you think it's going to be people.
Yes.
You think it's going to be people. You think it's going to be the government or people?
I think it's going to be a Republican government.
Okay. You think it's going to be who, Tom?
Government.
You, Ricky?
I think it's going to be the people.
You think it's going to be the people. So
What do you think, Pat?
I think it's, to me, I think if you guys are not saying face of the league,
I think it's players.
I think if a player comes out, an influencer, look, the law of E.F. Hutton, Maxwell would talk about the law of E.F. Hutton. There is guys in the league that have a voice. If they say something, it shuts the whole thing down. If LeBron, which he'll never do, he would never do such a thing, ever do such a thing to go against China, never, he would never do that. But if a guy like him came out, if a KD came out, KD's more likely to go and say, listen, I just don't like what's going on in China. I don't support the stuff. I think KD's more likely to do something like that. I think in the NFL, I think Mahomes is a values guy. Mahomes would actually be capable of doing something like that. I think Brady's a guy that keeps his politics down, but I think one of those major influencers to come out and then people agreeing with each other, that's something where everybody has to pay attention.
I mean, look at what happened with Daryl Morey.
No, look what
that guy got canceled immediately.
But Daryl Morey's not a top 100 influencer
Correct.
in the NBA. He's not.
And he's back, by the way.
Kyrie Irving is though, and they're still shutting him up.
Kyrie's not a top 10 influencer in the NBA. He's not.
Pat, the problem with Mahomes, you need a good quarterback to be able to step out.
He has not been playing good lately. It's a shot right there you took out. So.
What's that E.F. Hutton law? I don't know what that is. What is
E.F.
that?
Hutton means E.F. Hutton is there's always somebody in the room that's the influencer. You have to find out who that person is. Okay, you have to find out who the person is. When they speak, when E.F. Hutton would speak, everybody would listen. The E.F. Hutton of sports needs to speak. That has everyone's respect. Whoever that E.F. Hutton of sports is, if they talk, everyone's gonna say shit. All right, we got to do something to make this guy happy. So the complete opposite of a Kaepernick. Kaepernick did a video the other day talking about, I don't know if you guys saw that video or not. Anyways, complete different story. Maybe we'll go into the Virginia story next. But Kaepernick said something, and everybody had to respond to it, right? So take a person, and that guy wasn't even an E.F. Hutton. The guy wasn't even an E.F. Hutton, but there's somebody that needs to come out who is an E.F. Hutton to say something like to get people to pay attention to it. Anyways, let's have a special guest that's here today. My wife, Jennifer, is here with us. Jen, why don't you come and join us? Okay, Jennifer, come grab a seat right next to, where do you want him, David? You want...
Yes.
How you doing, baby?
Hi, Jen.
Yes. Okay. Jen, is this the first time you joined the podcast?
Yes.
Like sitting at the table.
So today's been an interesting day because today we had what? What happened? Mike? Yeah, Jen's got it. We got to share the mic here, babe. So somehow we got to share the mic. So today, I went to the gym early in the morning, babe. If that's yours, you want to put it on just to listen to it. So today we went to I went to the gym early in the morning, and then we had to come back. We had Dylan that he had. What was that thing today? Was it the Thanksgiving?
A special Thanksgiving chapel at school.
Special Thanksgiving deal at the chapel at school.
Yes.
And then right after that, I was heading to the podcast. I was 10 minutes late because of Dylan's special chapel deal. Okay, but we're gonna go 10 or 15 minutes higher. So babe, here's what I kind of want to do for you. Why don't you tell the audience? So if there was anything we can give away today, so far we've given away an iPhone. Okay, we were asking everybody on what some of the prizes were to give away. Gerard had some good ideas. Tom had some good ideas. Adam said, why don't we give like a cat away? I said, it's technically, we're going to have the wrong people coming after us. We just gave away an iPhone. We gave away an Oculus. We gave away a Monte Cristo. What do you think we should give away to the ladies? If you get
these things that are on the table?
On the table, but you can choose something else. Give me something $300, $500, $1,000 that ladies would like that we can do. Maybe we give that away in the next 5 to 10 minutes. What would you say that would be?
How about like a small wallet, like a luxury wallet, like a Gucci wallet or something like that.
Babe, how much is a Gucci wallet? Babe? People are
like a nice one is $450.
Which one, Ricky? Which wallet?
Like a what is it called? Clutch?
The foldable.
Is that Gucci?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is this? This is what? This is
$700, $600.
Is this Gucci?
Fendi.
This is Fendi.
No, fake Fendi.
So you think what? A Gucci wallet?
About $600-700. A nice little small one, nothing crazy.
A Gucci wallet. It was $450.
Would that be pretty cool to do a Gucci wallet? Can we see? Because right after the Gucci wallet, we're gonna do the PlayStation 5. Okay, let me see here. Gucci.
Yeah, so you're right there.
The card case
wallet. Okay, what's
the Marmont? That's the one that I just got.
That's a Gucci wallet, Marmont.
Yeah. But
okay.
I got, the one I got was like $450.
Is there a Chanel one or no? Is there?
Chanel's gonna be way.
That's
how much is
$3,000 for this?
For
yes.
one like that?
Yes.
What else? What else would the ladies like?
Depending on where they live, I'm a huge fan of Tory Burch sandals. Tory Burch sandals are like
bought some, loves them.
$150, $200.
What else? Give me one more.
Let's see. How about something Valentino?
Like?
Sandals, Valentino sandals.
So if you had to choose between the Valentino sandals and the other one, which one would it be?
Tory Burch. Tory Burch is way more comfortable.
Tory Burch. It's okay. Give me one more. So far we have the little what did you say? The purse, the wallet, the Tory Burch sandals. What else, Ricky? You and Erica shop all the time for the ladies. Give me one more piece. What else would you say?
It's winter's a scarf. A scarf is run you
scarf
will run you a couple $100.
From who? From Louis?
Louis. Gucci.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna be way more.
Maybe a Louis Vuitton face mask.
How much is a Louis Vuitton scarf?
That Ricky used to rock.
That's like $1,000.
A scarf? Think so?
Yeah,
Look up scarves, Kai. Louis Vuitton scarves.
He has
Yeah,
no
one of
idea
those
how to spell
Herms.
Louis
One of those Herm scarves.
Oh my gosh! Look at that! Look at that! Look at the Louis Vuitton scarf.
By the way, I just bought some Hermes.
All right. Okay, cool. So here's what we're gonna do. The next giveaway.
exactly what I wrote.
Wow.
The next giveaway is the following.
They're nice, too.
Here's what we're doing. The next giveaway is gonna be a Louis Vuitton scarf.
Okay.
It's gonna be the Tory Burch sandals, and it's gonna be the Gucci
wallet?
wallet. All three combined. Is that a good giveaway? Wow. We're gonna do all three of them. Is that okay if we do that?
That's
Yeah.
$1,300.
All right,
That's-
$1,300.
If Gerard wins this one, we know it's freaking rigged. If Gerard starts walking around in high heels and a scarf and panties in his pocket,
You don't
we
need
have
a
a major
scarf in
issue
the
here.
metaverse.
This is rigged.
Let's do so in the next
I don't know if
5 to
Tory
10.
Burch comes
After
in
this
13 and a
story,
half.
we'll do the giveaway for the ladies. So gentlemen, you may want to get it for your wife or your girlfriend, or ladies, if you're on there, you might want to do the $20 because the next one's going to be that. We'll do that, and then afterwards we'll do the PlayStation, and if we get to 7,500, I'll give away 1 Ethereum.
Okay, guys. Yeah,
All right. So why don't we do a story with Jen here? Jen, let's pick a story that maybe you can give us some opinions on as well. All right. Let me see here. Okay. How about Shaq's message to his kids? Is that a fair one to do? Is that one we want to do? Let's do that one. Okay, let's do that one because we've talked about this, so this is a good one for us. Okay, page 3. Our friend Shaq, who till today I'm blocked because of the interview I did with Kobe.
You're still blocked.
I am still
Shaq has
blocked by
blocked you.
Shaq. Till today I'm blocked by Shaq. He sent me a real message. He says, "What a stupid question to ask Kobe. What do you mean if I had Kobe's work ethic, who would I have been? That's the dumbest question I've ever heard." Bam, and he blocked me. Yeah. Anyways, all right, so let's go through Shaq's message to his kids. I'm rich. We're not rich. 710 Kill News. Former LSU Tiger and basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal delivered. It's so weird, the introduction. Why would you say former LSU Tiger? Why wouldn't it be the former Laker NBA Hall of Famer? But former LSU Tiger and basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal delivered some harsh news to his 6 children. He told them, we're not rich. I'm rich. On a recent podcast, Shaq says, they're kind of upset with me. Not really upset, but they don't understand. The retired Hall of Fame hoop star says he wants his children to make their own way in the world. O'Neal's net worth hovers around $400 million, but he has made it very clear to his children he expects them to all go to college, and if they have an idea that they want to invest in, they will have to pitch it to him just like anyone else. Babe, what do you think about this story?
I think this
Get a
sounds
little,
very familiar.
Here we go, much better right there.
Oh, thank you. I think it sounds very familiar because.
Do you hear it? Do you hear it or no? I don't hear it.
I don't hear it.
No?
Just give her your mic.
Okay,
Here, just do this, babe.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh, it's better now. He's got it.
Okay. Okay, musical mics. So
Sounds familiar to you, the
Sounds
story?
very familiar, yes, because we basically talk about the same kind of principles with our children. Whenever they're wanting anything, we talk about being able to earn that. Even small things, if they want to buy something, they're like, well, hey, can I go get the money from my piggy bank, those piggy banks that you put together for them? Chico was like, where's the key to this, Mom? Because I want to buy, this video game or whatever it might be. I was like, I don't know where the key is. Ask your dad. So it's about the saving principles.
I intentionally lost the key. Because hopefully we're going to lose the key for like 10 years.
For the safe?
No, I'm just kidding. I have the key, but it's in a place that I don't even know.
But I think they understand that they don't have the money because, if there's something they want to buy, you'll say, look, we'll go buy it. And the kids will be like, well, I don't have any money. Dad, I don't have any money. So I think, they understand that
Dylan's
they're
the
not
most
rich.
curious one. Would you agree? Dylan's the one that says, hey, Daddy, how much is this house? I'm like, Dylan, who cares? He says, no, I want to know because my friends are asking. They say you're rich. I said, how much is this house? I'm not telling you how much is this house. Somebody told me this house is a lot of money, Daddy.
Yeah,
They're
they'll say like, Daddy, are you a millionaire yet? And then you'll say,
working on it.
By the way, I got to tell you what Dylan said. Dylan goes like this. Dylan says, hey, Daddy, are you a millionaire yet? I said, yeah, I would say yes. He says, but you're not a billionaire like Batman.
Yeah, he says that.
Batman's already a billionaire. So he calls out. Can you imagine that?
Never be good enough for your
Yeah,
kid.
step your game up. What's up with this, right?
Going
Even
on
Dylan.
here? Joker.
Yeah.
Remember, we can never rise above the opinion of our children.
It is true. It is true. Senna's so funny. Senna's like, Daddy, I want a Ferrari. I said,
Yeah,
you want a
she
Ferrari?
said.
I said, that's great. I said, Daddy, who's going to buy it for you, baby? you're going to buy it for me. I'm not buying it for you. Yeah, you buy it for me. I said, no, you're going to buy it for yourself.
Yeah.
But so you agree with what Shaq has to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I've heard the kids say other things like that, like Senna says, or Dylan may say, you know, I want a Lamborghini, and then you'll say like, well, who's going to buy it for you? And he's like, well, I don't have any money. And he's like, well, you gotta work to make the money to be able to buy that. So
do you remember that one time we're driving the car? Tico and Dylan are sitting in the back seat, and so I say, it's Papa's there, all the kids are there, and I say, hey, Tico, Dylan, are we one day going to be in business together? Like me, you, Daddy, all of us are going to be in business together? Tico and Dylan say, they look at each other very seriously. They say, Daddy, it's a very serious question. Let us think about it.
It's good.
Remember that? It's like, let us think about it.
That's a lesson out there.
That's a lesson
to everyone out there. If you don't have an immediate answer,
let us think about it.
Let it marinate for a second.
And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, wow, these guys are wanting to think. So they're talking to each other in the backseat in the escalator. I'm like, Daddy, we talked about it. I said, okay, what do you guys want to do? We're going to start a business together now with you. It's just going to be the two of us. I'm like, fantastic.
Daddy.
Good for you. So they're trying to say, we're going to make our own money. We don't need your help. Tom, what do you think about the story with Shaq?
You know, it's interesting, Jen, that story. You know, I can kind of relate to that because I have that same conversation with Dash because I'm asking him if I can borrow some money from him, actually, and he'll buy me something. The kid's making money right now. Yeah. But it is something that you have to deal with for sure. Shaq's interesting because, remember, he was clearly motivated by the fact that his dad didn't give a damn about him, right? He had the song Biological Didn't Bother. So he was raised by his stepdad, a very strict military guy. Made him what he is. Yep. Treats him as his. But it's interesting that he has that as his background. It reminds me of what Daniel Craig said recently when the Bond movie came out, that he's going to leave any money for his kids. I find it weird. Here's my question for Shaq. You're the busiest guy in show business. There isn't a commercial you don't do. You run to Atlanta to do TNT all the time. You're a police officer here. You're a DJ there. How much time are you spending with your kids? Because I've never heard about any of your kids. I'm kind of surprised that none of them have started to excel at something. So I'm saying
they're playing basketball, both of them, right?
I don't know. I know
a
lot about basketball.
Health issues. I think played for UCLA and he had some heart issues.
That's right. But I just, when you're not around your kids as much as Shaq isn't probably, and it's just such a throwaway line saying, you go make your own money. You give me a business plan if you want to do something. I find it a little callous. That's just me personally. I get it. Yeah. You want to make your kids, but that's not my style.
I got to tell you, I take the opposite approach. I absolutely love this. The fact that he's coming out and saying, I'm rich. You guys, you ain't nothing. You haven't proved anything to the world. There's nothing worse. And this is why I respect you guys so much, making your kids work for it and earn it and read and shoot hoops and baskets. There's nothing worse than entitlement. And I've grew up with a lot of rich kids in Miami, and it's always the rich kids that don't want to work for it, that just kind of feel like they're going to get the inheritance, that always end up resulting into nothing. And it's always even I'm not saying that all wealthy kids won't turn out successful, but it's the ones that their parents implement some work ethic and not the silver spoon effect that always excel.
Yeah, but you're making it seem like the parents that just give their kids money where they don't have to worry about it. It's the attention. It's the focus. It's raising them the right way.
I think Tom's talking about extremities. Like, that's the extremity of, like, oh, you're just going to not, help them? Because that's the point. Like, for example, my dad 2 times in his life was what you would consider rich to us, right? And so he, there was twice. And when the first time was when I was a kid, he owned a dealership, he owned a restaurant, he owned 4 businesses. By the way, he had no papers. He was 28 years old and had no papers, and he owned 4 businesses. And I didn't know he had. I was working with the mechanic. Like he owned a dealership. So when the cars would come in, I would help the mechanic. I would move the cars. I would wash the cars. So my dad had money, but I had no idea. The second time I was like 12 years old. He got into real estate when the real estate was booming. And he had 12 houses. I was working with the guys in the crew. I was putting up the stucco. My dad had money. I just didn't know. I didn't know until I became an adult that there was twice, because in the market crash he lost everything, then lost everything again twice. But he instilled that in me. Never did he say, well, he would tell me one day this is all going to be yours. But it's like, but for now, get your ass to work. Does that make, that's the language. Because he did want to instill, I'm building this for you, but you're gonna earn it. So that was a lot of conversation with my dad. Like, one day it's all going to be yours, but then meanwhile, pick up that plywood. Pick up that sheetrock, pick up that hammer. So I worked in the crews after school, and he would pay me, he would give me $50 a day, $250 a week, and I would have to buy my own stuff. Hey, that's, but one day it's going to be yours, but you're going to learn the value. So that's, there's just 2 sides of it. My dad wasn't like Shaq, like you're not going to have it. But also, he wasn't like, here you go. No, we're gonna learn the value of adulthood.
Gerard, what do you think? What do you think about this?
I think it's fun rhetoric, but I mean, if I follow Shaq on Instagram, and he's around his kids a lot, at least whenever he's around his kids, the camera's on anyway. Who knows? I don't know.
Kids seem like they like him.
They love him.
Kids seem like they enjoy his company.
Great relationship.
Yeah.
I think that he is trying to look. He was born in Newark. He was raised. He wasn't raised crazy poor, but. He thinks he's got an incredibly hard work ethic, and that's probably what he took umbrage with you. By the way, Valuetainers, this is on you guys. There's 3 million of you. You should be peppering Shaq on Twitter every day saying hashtag sit down with PBD. Valuetainers, what are you doing, guys? This is apes together strong moment here. We need 3 million of you just to pepper Shaq, Instagram and Twitter for the next 2 days. Tell him to come sit down and piece it up. The next sit down after Mafia States is PBD and Shaq, all right? So I think it's great to instill a work ethic. My father was the same way. You never got anything. You had to earn everything. And it did get, as you got older and you understood, like, it did become frustrating. It became frustrating like that. All right, he's like, well, you got to earn it. I'm like, Dad, well, what's the deal? Like, come on, what's the deal? Like, can I have it or not? Like, what are we doing here? So I think, look, I'm not a parent. I don't know how it goes. You got to be a teacher. You have to teach them. You have to instill them. Discipline is everything. We talk about we've talked about this extensively. Like, how do you when you give your kids everything you never had, they become everything that you never were.
We talk about this.
We talk about that a lot, So it's like, how do you? Yeah. Your success comes from your struggle, but your kids are never going to have that struggle, and you can't really emulate that too much because then they'll grow to resent you, right? So. I tell you, I don't know. I like what he does. His kids seem to love him. I think you walk that, that's kind of like every great coach, every great mentor, every great boss, every great friend you've ever had knows when to push and knows when to pull, right?
Good feedback there. Ladies, if you're watching this, in about 5 minutes, we're going to do the next giveaway, which is going to be what? A Louis Vuitton scarf. It's going to be the Tory Burch sandals, and it's going to be the Gucci wallet, which is like $1,300. We'll do that here next. $20 super chat. You'll be in the raffle. You got probably 5 more minutes to get that $20 and to be in the next super chat. Here's what I would tell you. A guy named Art Williams, who is the founder of A.O. Williams, he used to be with a company called Waddell and Reed, and then he left and it became Primerica City, Group bought it, all this stuff. It's a term insurance company.
Just Do It guy? Is that
this the Just Do It guy. That's right. That's the Just Do It guy.
Yes.
Yeah, Art Williams. So he said when he was a coach and he was working with Coach Bear Bryant, or he was a coach himself, he would tell us players, you better get your ass off the field if you're injured. Don't even think about if you're injured to lay down there. Get up and get to the sidelines. Don't even walk slowly to the sidelines. I'm not going to come and get you. You get your ass up and get to the sidelines. That's what he would say. He says, but in a leadership recording, he said the following. He said, but let's face it. If I knew they couldn't get up, I'm going to go pick them up and bring them to the sidelines. But you never tell them to believe that, because you want them to use as much of their own sheer strength to stand up. So a big part of parenting could be, listen, dude, you got to figure this thing out for yourself. You got to pull yourself. You got your own little red wagon to pull. Whatever. You're the Michael's legacy, the Aguilar, the Zeno legacy, the Ellsworth legacy, but David, one day Sosnick legacy. You got to go do your part. But if shit hit the fan, you know who's the first person that's going to go.
Yeah.
You know it. Yeah. If something happens, his son needs something, you're the first person to go there. So, but the tricky question is the following. Here's a tricky question. Do you guys believe you're going to leave an inheritance to your kids?
Yes.
Whatever you have, are you going to leave 100% with your kids?
No.
Whatever you have? Are you not at the 100% part?
50%
Absolutely not.
Where are you at? You're at.
They don't need to wait for me to leave them an inheritance, for Kim and I to leave them an inheritance, because we're giving them vision, purpose, and education. And I've pointed out to them that says, look, you got to go get your grades and you got to get your test scores so that you have the maximum number of opportunities, whether that's college or whatever it is in life. You want the maximum opportunities, you need to work to get it. And I've sent Bailey articles on student loans. I said, you are blessed because you're not going to get out of college with student loans, so you won't have that burden as you produce the opportunity following your education. And so that I give them purpose, I give them vision, and we teach them consequence. If you slack now, you're going to limit the number of opportunities you have. You work hard, you can have the maximum number of colleges.
You're going to do 100%. You're going to do 100%. You're going to do 100%.
Well, here's why.
100%.
I don't know who else would be more worthy than my kids. I mean, unless there's some charitable cause or something.
Okay.
Or something.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you going to do 100%?
Well, give your kids all your
every Uber, frequent flyer miles you have. Are you going to give all your money 100% to your kids?
No, I don't think 100%.
What would you give them?
certainly some inheritance, but people forget how long people live, and you're going to use a lot of your money. Not everyone has $20 million or $10 million.
But I'm
even $1
saying
million
when
to leave
you
your kids.
die, is your estate going to say 100% of your money goes to your kids, or is it going to go to some charity?
I assume most people, if they're doing well, they have a trust and they have a trustee, and
I'm
it's going to
asking
go to
you,
your wife,
is
and
your
it's going to go to all
but
that.
to you, is it going to go 100% to your family, wife, and kids?
A large portion. I
Okay,
won't say
fine.
100.
So then here's
I
the
don't
other
know.
question.
What about you?
Here's the other question. Let me give you the other question. I'll give my answer as well. Here's the other question. The question, this is the real question. You got 4 kids. You got 2 kids. You got 3 kids. You got 10 million in your estate, 20 million in your estate. Are you giving every kid equally the same amount?
Oh, that's a good question.
That ripped my family apart.
Man, the ugly one has to get the least.
The ugly one.
This exactly. And it was
You're calling one of your kids ugly.
Chances are maybe one of them.
No.
Let's go.
They're going to come back and
Gerard,
see this video.
let's hear. I want to hear the story
Yeah,
how this ripped his family apart.
It was
Go ahead.
not a lot of money. It was not a significant amount of money. But my mom is one of 8 kids, and my grandmother only left 6 of them money.
And left 2 people out.
Left 2 people out, and there was property that she only gave to 3. And I got to be honest, and I love my grandmother more than any human being that's ever walked this face of the earth. I love that woman to death. That was a vindictive move.
But
it was a
what
final
was
last
her
move.
reasoning?
She shouldn't.
What was her reasoning? Did she have one? Do you know her reasoning?
She had reasons. And then afterwards, it was the brothers and the sisters got together and they were like, look, Grandma had dementia at the end. She was angry. Look, let's just do the right thing and split this thing evenly. And some of the people were like, no, we're going with her last wishes. And they're like, you're greedy. And it has nothing to do with greed. It's we're honoring our mother's wishes. And it ripped the family apart.
Till today?
Till today.
Gosh,
They
I
don't speak to each other. They won't go to each other's funerals. Like rip them apart. They'll never speak to each other
Similar
ever
to
again.
my family as well.
And I'm
So-
telling you that
Yep.
we spent
Yeah.
every Christmas together. We
Yeah.
spent every holiday together.
Interesting.
No matter how far on Long
Yeah.
Island, no matter how far south, this was a tight
What a
family.
horrible
Ripped them
position to
apart.
put your mother in, where she has to go ask for something that she probably deserved. Or if you're going to keep people out, you got to tell them why. I think. I mean, there's got to be a reason for
The
it.
relationship broke down early before. I'm interested, Tom. Like, you're not afraid that your daughter and your daughters love you to death. You're not afraid they're going to resent you if they know that what money you have and that money's going to leave the family. At least you could leave them in the will. Say, here's everything. This is what I would do with it. I
Didn't you
would
hear
try
me say
to-
I'm giving 100%? Oh, you.
Okay,
oh,
so
okay.
I'll tell you what we're doing. He says it's going to be a trust or a foundation, depending on the size, and there will be something for Bailey, something for Brooke, and then they will be trustees of the trust and the foundation, and we are going to already be instilling in them in the things that we support and the things that we do. They will already be, unless I die in a plane crash tomorrow afternoon, right? They will already be
Take a Greyhound.
instilled.
Conditioned.
Let's go,
Right?
Brandon.
We're already going to teach them what we're doing. And so when it's over, they don't have to wait for the reading of the will. They'll say, well, I've got something here. I've got something here. I have no education debt. Hopefully I've made something myself. And then we're both trustees to keep doing what mom and dad were doing from the day that we were old enough to understand what they did with their money.
I think so. I had a story from one, and then we'll transition to the you got 2 more minutes, folks, if you want to get that Tory Burch sandals. What is it? Louis scarf and a Gucci wallet. We'll do that in 2 minutes here.
That's
So,
that's for every woman valuetainer and every Persian valuetainer.
by the way, Persian and Michoacan, Jalisco, Mexicans.
Ricky's more excited about this than any female out there.
Ricky's like, I got all 3 already.
Ricky heard Louis Vuitton scarf and things are starting to pop up.
So
over
we
there.
had one of the successful friends of the family we had in Iran was a lady named Shirin. They had a son named Ali who ended up being a doctor, and I don't know what the sister's name was. Could have been Hirsa or something like that. Anyways, so the way they did it is they said, it was so interesting. My mom told me the story. They gave their wealth while they were alive because they didn't want their kids to be waiting for them to die so they get the money. So they gave it while they were alive.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so they're like, you know what? Listen, here's what we have. Here's the money you're getting right now while we're alive. Let's just enjoy. We don't want you to be like,
And
when
you
is
can
mom
thank your
dying? When is that dying? Yeah.
Right.
So, that's one part. But the other part also, like if you got a kid that ends up being a bad habits, drugs, all this other stuff, he's going to ruin his life. There was a book by Jim Stovall called The Ultimate Gift.
Yes, love
it's
that
a
book.
great book. It's a great book. We've probably given a few thousand copies of this book
I
away.
think you gave that to me like the first week we were dating as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
I probably did. The Ultimate Gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gave you a book, first week of dating.
He
I
gave me
gave her
several
$2.
books.
Yeah, but the first week, the first book I gave you
Yeah,
was
the first was 101 questions you ask before you get engaged.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Second date. Second date.
At Borders.
Oh, he came on strong then, huh, Jen?
Yes. He knew what he wanted.
Yeah, second date. And then we had a meeting Saturday for how many hours?
Like 6 maybe.
6 hours we went through every
6
question.
hours.
Not a date, a meeting.
I like that you just called it a meeting.
Hey, I love how you tell a girl you're going to give her the ultimate gift and you hand her a book.
Well, my lawyers showed up. Her lawyers showed up. It was very romantic. Both legal team was there.
We had a mediator off to the side, a court reporter.
By the way, Jen,
Yeah.
Senna says you're gonna give me a Corvette or a Ferrari.
Pink Ferrari.
You know when she does her little daddy that. You know if there's one kid that's gonna get it, it's Senna.
I don't know about that. I don't think we would do that to her. No.
You don't know me too well yet.
No, I think Senna could pull it. I'm saying if there's one kid that can pull it out of you,
Let me explain it to you though.
Yeah.
Here's how I work. The way I work is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
We have in every possible way, it's all about incentives. You hit it, I want to do more for you. I don't want to do less for you. I'm all about more. So if you wanted XYZ, I want to do even more, but I want you to hit a certain earlier numbers, performance, giving your best, behavior, attitude, all that stuff. I want to be able to do that. So there's going to be some kind of a structure for the kids to be able to get more than others. They're all going to be in a pretty decent situation, but some of them are going to get more than the others. Business-wise, here's how I'm going to do when the guys have an idea to run a business. My approach for business is going to be the following way. You come, you don't talk to me. You talk to him. You don't talk to me with your business ideas because I don't want to have that kind of relationship with you.
Right.
If you need me on a chair, no problem. If you need me as an investor, no problem. You have to convince him. You have to convince the lawyers, not me. So you talk to them. They hold you accountable to the money. They hold you accountable to what you do. Those guys are getting a fee of what the company does good. So they're not going to be like, oh, here you go, $17 million. Here you go, it's $1 million. Here you go, $300,000. In return, I'm in the back. I'm just simply the one that's the chair, but he's holding you accountable. The board is holding you accountable. That's the way I'm going to approach it with these kids. Now, we're going to find out in 8 years if it's right or wrong, and then we'll talk about it on the podcast. I said we talk about it in 2020.
Episode 2000.
2101.
By the way,
poor
you know what Shaq does.
that ask Senna
Speaking,
and
this whole
Brooklyn to
conversation
prom?
started with Shaq
Yeah,
and inheritance. You know that he has something that he calls the Shaq Tank, right?
Like a Shark Tank,
like a
Shark Tank, yeah.
Well, he'll have investors come in and pitch him for 15 minutes while he's got his board of trustees or his conglomerate around him, and they pitch him with ideas. So that's probably what he's gonna have his kids do: is come in and pitch the group on their ideas. He's not gonna give his kids stuff for free. There's gonna be an incentive program as well.
We talked about Dwayne Johnson being president one day. I would vote for Shaquille O'Neal as president.
Okay.
Can you imagine Shaq as a president?
I would vote for Shaquille O'Neal as president of the United States.
Press conferences would be great.
Yeah.
Would
he be the most dominant?
Yeah.
Would he be the most dominant?
Can I tell you the first time I saw Shaq play?
Vladimir Putin.
He was
How's
in
my
high
ass
school.
taste?
I saw Shaq play in high school. Right before he went to LSU, he played at the U.S. Olympic Festival. They used to have this in off Olympic years.
Yep.
He was on the American team, played at Williams Arena in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I went to the game, didn't know who he was. There was a half-hour delay in the game because he tore down the rim and he blocked 20 shots. Can you imagine Shaq against high school kids? I saw it. It was unbelievable.
By the way, LSU record, I think 14 or 15 blocks in a game. I remember that game when he did that. He was insane.
His rookie
Former
year,
LSU
incredible.
Tiger. Shaq.
What was it?
Not Laker, not Heat, not
NBA champion.
We went to a
What was the
special.
Nick Nolte movie with him and Anthony?
Chips,
Blue
not
Chip,
chips.
Blue
Blue
Chip.
Chip, yeah.
Amazing movie.
By the way, we went to a Lakers event with. Do you remember that Lakers event we went with Shaq and James Worthy came over, said hello. That whole we were playing basketball on the Staples
Center.
Yeah, it was really cool, great experience. Shaq's the speaker. Shaq comes in, he gets up. So Shaq, your kids, one of them looks like he's going to have a career. What college are you going to put him into? He says, I'm going to put him in LSU. They pay the best. Everybody was like quiet. Anyways, Sabel, get in here. It's time for raffle. A bunch of people are getting it in. Bunch of people are getting it in.
Come on,
so
Ricky wants
this
that
is
Louis Vuitton.
That's a lucky seat, by the way, right there.
By the way, Ricky's been, but even Moral got in there, guys. Moral just got in there. Moral, give $20. History will be kind to me, for I intend to write it.
Moral and Tigran Bekian.
All right, add it. Let's see what happens
If
to
Gerard wins this one, this whole operation.
I want to see what's going to. Here we go. Here we go.
A lot of names in there. Ricardo Aguilare.
Spencer.
Metacoven, 12.
Cove 12.
Is that
X,
Musk? Elon Musk?
12. Whoever you are, comment
12.
because you won
AOV 12.
the Louis Vuitton.
Has donated around 5 times.
He has donated around 5 times. Really?
Wow.
So he really earned it. Well,
know
Cove, There
Good
you go,
for this
buddy.
guy.
I'm sure your girl's going to be
12
very
by
happy.
12.
Maybe you may be a girl that you got it. Happy for you as well. We'll send it over to you. Hopefully you're in the States, so we don't have to worry about getting these scarves.
We're closing in on
vaccination
5,000.
cards, so they make it out to you.
And the customs.
Yeah, we got nearly 5,000 people live here. Anyways, okay, babe, I know you probably got to run. It's been good having you on here, babe.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for
Thank you,
having
Jen.
me.
Clap it up.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
If you want to see Jen come on the podcast more often, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And let us know what you want to hear from her, because she's got a lot of insight. The only thing she can't talk about is how I'm wired and how our relationship is. Anything outside of that is stuff we can talk about. Fair game, yes. This is pretty private. Okay, all right, so next giveaway, which we'll do, folks, you have about, I'm going to say 15 minutes. The next giveaway we'll do will be the PlayStation 2. David said PlayStation 2. People would leave the podcast.
PlayStation
it's a
5.
PS5 is what we're doing. The
Gerard
next one.
famously said is better than the 4.
PS5.
That
That comes with what? David, what does PS5 come from? Can you tell them what it comes from? It comes with what?
PS5 comes with an extra DualShock controller, some headphones for your everyday gamer, and the highest and latest PS5. 200, how many gigs? 800 gigs? It's a terabyte?
Is it really 800? Fantastic.
800
fantastic,
gigs.
fantastic. Okay, awesome. All right, let's get into the next story here. How about we talk about what happened in Virginia? Are you okay if we talk about what happened in Virginia? I know Adam wants the story really bad.
Okay.
All right, let's go through this. So politics, go to page 5 with what happened in Virginia.
Congratulations for the Virginians.
Republican Glenn Youngkin defeats Democrat Terry McAuliffe in high-stakes Virginia governor election. This is an insider story. In Virginia's gubernatorial election, he won. Tuesday's race was the biggest test of President Joe Biden and his party's strength since Democrats won back in the White House in November of 2022 and the Senate in January. Youngkin, a wealthy former private equity executive and a co-CEO of the Carlyle Group, as a political newcomer and funded much of his own campaign on the campaign trail. Youngkin depicted himself as an economic conservative and largely avoided discussing former President Trump, who lost Virginia by double digits in 2020. Trump spokesperson Liz Harrington shared a statement on Twitter saying that Trump and Youngkin get along very well together and strongly believe in many of the same policies. At the same time, the biggest story, believe it or not, wasn't the governor, it was a lieutenant governor. Marine veteran Winsome Sears becomes first female and woman of color elected as Virginia's lieutenant governor. CBS News, Republican Winsome Sears was elected as Virginia's new lieutenant governor on Tuesday night, becoming the first woman, first woman of color to serve in that position. I'm at loss for awards for the first time in my life, Sears said in an address to supporters on election night. What you are looking at is the American dream. The American dream. This is not the first barrier Sears has broken. Sears, a U.S. Marine veteran, previously served in Virginia's House of Delegates. She was the first black Republican woman, first female veteran, and first legal immigrant woman I think she's from Haiti. She's from Jamaica. Woman elected to that position. She says on her campaign website, when my father came to this country, August 11, 1963, he came at the height of the civil rights movement from Jamaica, and he only came with $1.75, she said in her victory speech. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was still a Jamaican, but this country had done so much for me. I was willing to die for this country. How big of a deal is this? The fact that Republicans won Virginia. Tom, I'm going to you first.
I think it's a huge, huge deal that has implications going into the midterm. And the Democrats are in disarray. And I'm going to curse. Starting with the sleeping shitter, everybody from the top down is freaking out about what's going on. This morning I was reading, James Carville came up and said, we need to go to the woke detox center because the defund police lunacy and take Lincoln names off schools is being noticed by mainstream Americans and voters, and they don't like it. On the other side, the far left, where 5% are, Catman. Omar said, we need to double down because this race baiting that defeated us, by the way, she said that, this race baiting that defeated us. Wait a minute, she's got that flipped over. Yeah. And then Tim Kaine, Democrat Ohio, he said, let me tell you, folks, we better get our act together because this is the ghost of Christmas future.
Wasn't Tim Kaine a VP candidate?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
Wasn't he from Virginia at the time? And then now he's Democrat Ohio. Well, once upon a time, Hillary was in Arkansas, then she was in New York. And
JFK Jr. was alive.
But look at that. You've got moderation from Tim Kaine, reasonable statement. Carville freaking out saying, hey, all the stuff that we did with defund the police and all take Lincoln off schools is bad. And then Omar saying, no, we need to double down. It's like there's three parties in the Democrat Party and they're all freaked out. But I'm so really, really proud to see a person that came over, and she's lieutenant governor now. Her speech, her story. I think, to me, that's the biggest story of the election. Is someone comes from somewhere and they can.
Adam, what do you think? Your thoughts?
I think you're missing the biggest story is that this non-politician came in there and he actually ran as a traditional economic conservative Republican. He did not embrace Trump at all. And actually he said, I'm here for Virginia. Let's keep this election about Virginia. Trump, I don't need you on this one, buddy. And that's the playbook. If you want to win the general election, if you're a Republican, if you want to win your state and saying, hey, Trump, I respect you. Thank you for all you've done. I'm good. Because it's all about converting. Yes, if you're going to embrace Trump and run to the MAGA crowd, sure, you're going to get that, but you're not going to win a state like Virginia. Biden won Virginia by, I think, double-digit points.
13.
A year ago. 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And now Terry McAuliffe, who was the governor of Virginia, 10 years ago, running again, lost to Youngkin. The playbook here is that you don't need Trump to win. You're going to get moderates like myself or people that could go either way and say, you know what? The best ideas are with this guy, Youngkin. This guy, Terry McAuliffe, shot himself in the foot because he made a lot of comments about parents and school and, critical race and stuff like that. And people said, I'm sick of that. And you have people like James Carville and
That wasn't
Tim Kaine.
But that wasn't the worst thing he said. He told parents that they have no business telling
that's what he
this.
said.
You have
no right. You have no right.
Sure. He made some bad comments. Correct. Like that clearly shot himself in the foot. The bottom line is what I'm saying is this guy won fair and square. He didn't need to cozy up to Trump in order to win. That's going to be the playbook for other moderate Republicans moving forward. Is that, look, fight your fight. You don't need Trump there for you, backing you up. You can win without Trump. And I hope to see that happen.
Hold on. Virginia's a blue state. You think the Republicans won? You don't think Democrats flipped?
No, that's his point. That's literally
what I just said.
About moderate Republicans, that you don't need Trump with moderate Republicans. You didn't say that Democrat are the ones that flipped, because that's what ended up happening here.
I'm saying independents and moderate Democrats flipped. Yes.
So
exactly what I'm saying.
I think what he's saying is if he had embraced Trump, those that flipped may not have because of the
precisely.
No, I don't. But I don't agree with that.
Why is that? Tell us why.
No, I don't agree with it because people are tired of the woke left. Trump or no Trump, people are tired of it. They're tired. They're done of you telling them how to live their life. Trump or no Trump, I think Virginia was going to flip.
Yeah, but I'll say this. I think the Republican strategist over here, I think, does have a valid point. Because look at California, Ricky. Look at we're sick of the woke mentality too, but we didn't get rid of Gavin Newsom. I think this is a win for common sense.
California is a whole different demon.
Okay,
You can't compare it to Virginia.
But okay, let's talk about Virginia for a second. I think this is a win for sanity. I think this is a win for common sense. If you have hope, because he flipped this thing in the last month or two. Yeah. I mean, he was way behind in the polls, and when this idiot McAuliffe went out there and started talking about CRT, and telling the parents they have no choice, that was it. The suburban mom says you're done, all right? And that's how I think it's going to be in other parts of the country as well.
I disagree, and this is why. I would hope that they're going to flip, because a lot of people have been talking to me about that too. That this is going to be a purple state and it's open.
New Jersey?
And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I don't think that it is, because there are some strategists, and I talked to a couple of them, and they're like, our policies worked. Jack Ciattarelli only lost in New Jersey, even though they called it, even though the votes aren't fully tallied yet, maybe 2,000 votes.
Yep.
He's had 10,000 people. Bill Murphy alone in the last 4 years has had 100,000 people that would have voted against him leave the state. So what they're saying is now there's 4 years where they can widen that gap. Let's get more of these independents out. Let's strengthen our base. And let's get these small business owners out. Let's get these older people out. Let's use our policies. And what Ilhan Omar is saying, she's a dog whistle and she's using coded language, but what she's saying is that we need to primary these moderates. Justice Democrats, that far left, they do not go after the right. They don't run in blue county, in purple areas, and they don't run in red areas. They find blue strongholds, and they run far to the left of the incumbent. It's what they did with New York and AOC. AOC didn't unseat. She wasn't some young whippersnapper that unseated a Republican. She wasn't some young whippersnapper that came in and shook something up. She took a district that was Democrat for 70 years and made it socialist.
Yeah.
They run to the left of the left. That's what Ilhan Omar is doing. And that's what they're looking in Michigan right now, where they're literally burning documents. They're actually burning documents in Michigan right now because...
About what documents for what?
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, I must have missed it.
Yeah.
But that works in districts. That doesn't work on a national or state level.
Nonsense. It definitely works in the state level, and then it works. Politics start local and they branch regional. If you make it untenable for a voting base to stay, they leave. They come to Florida. They leave. They go to North Carolina. So this 2000. Remember, there's over 1 million more registered Democrats in New Jersey than Republicans. There's more registered Democrats in New Jersey than there are registered any other political affiliation combined outside of independents. And he won by 2,000 votes after 100,000 people left. In the next 4 years, if he does the mandates again, if he shuts businesses down again, another 100,000 are gone by the end of next year. It actually strengthens his power to hurt his state. I mean, so that's something you got to be very, very aware of, the actual politics, the political machinations behind this. You'd like to see it, but what I do hope on a federal level, with the midterms coming up, is people look at what Joe Manchin did. He held the line. He didn't allow himself to get bullied. Kristen Sinema didn't allow himself to get bullied. They tried to force this in before these elections. Now, Joe Manchin holds the keys to the Democratic Party. You got people that are coming up in these purple areas, in these purple districts, and they're looking at Joe Manchin saying, man, he's got a point. Joe Manchin could run this party if he really wants to. Joe Manchin is the guy that says, all right, now you guys come to me.
You think he realizes that?
I do. I really do. And
He's the shadow Speaker of the House.
The third point I have on this is that, man, I love how much immigrants love this freaking country, man. And this is something the Republican Party screwed up with for 40 freaking years with their hard line against immigration. You look at what Winsome Sears is, you look at what Pat is, you look at what people are, man, and they come to this country and they're willing to fight for this country. I would love, like Israel has the birthright, where you want to go to Israel. We should have a birthright. You want to be a communist? You get 2 years in any communist country that you want. We'll buy you the ticket there. You buy the ticket back. All right? You want to be a commie? Birthright. Birthright. Here you go. 2,000 American tax dollars. Enjoy Venezuela for 2 years. Come on back and let's have a conversation.
That was Pitbull's message at his concert about a month ago. You see that?
No.
Yeah.
Pitbull talking to the crowd.
The UFC fighter with the long hair too.
Masvidal.
Masvidal's doing the same thing.
Yeah. So let me go back to the question here, because this is the part I'm curious to know what you guys, because he took it there and we went a little bit, but we didn't fully go there. So Trump 3 days ago said this guy's going to make a great governor. He flat out said it. So that is a form of an endorsement. Then they had a call yesterday after winning. And of course, he's playing the card of, listen, this is about Virginia. This is not about Trump. I'm just trying to do this to win this. I'm here for the state. Does Trump's endorsement mean today what it meant 3 years ago?
Yes.
Do you think it still means?
I think it's stronger. I think it's stronger. I don't think
Adam's saying no.
I'm going to say no.
Stronger.
I'm going to say no. We're tired of it. I seriously, I mean, I was in favor of what he did as president, but I'm not signing up for another 4 years of that. I think there's a better alternative.
No, there's not. There's not. But what we're failing to understand is that when Pat said something very true a while back. He says, when you go too far left, it creates a far right. When you go too far right, it creates a far left. Right? So what happened is that right now, bro, there's people still with Trump flags. There's boat rallies. He just had one. Yes, his word still carries weight. Maybe not with you, but I'll tell you one thing, and I don't care, and I'll say that it carries weight with me, because if he endorsed somebody, I'm like, hey, bro, you were in the office, you dealt with these guys more than I did. If you're thinking that's the direction, that's the direction. By the way, I don't agree with everything because he created the vaccine. I'm not anti-vaccine,
Ricky,
but
let me tell you something. You, as sincere and as heartfelt as you are, you might be literally the most irrelevant voter in America.
What do you mean?
You're a Republican in California. You carry zero weight. You can't even win your state. The fact that you love Trump is irrelevant. California ain't going to Trump. You can't get Gavin Newsom out of office, and everyone hates him. Your opinion is great in Glendale or wherever you live, Bakersfield. It's irrelevant, the fact that you love Trump. You need someone like Tom to say, I'm back on the Trump train, baby. You need someone like me saying, you know what, this guy fucking Poopy Pants Biden, I can't do it again.
Right.
Trump ain't gonna do it, homie. And that's why I'm saying your opinion is irrelevant.
I think you're wrong. I just think you're wrong. How do you have boat rallies?
I have $300 worth of bullshit quarters, pesos, saying that you're wrong.
Boat rallies
and I need $700 pesos more, buddy.
You just did a rally.
Did you hear the deal that we did, by the way? You didn't hear about the deal that we did? You seen that Ricky's putting his car for sale.
Yeah.
No, it's
and he's
not.
been riding
No,
around
it's
on
already
horses.
Okay.
It's
So
gone.
he's complaining about gas prices and inflation, and I said, Ricky, I'm gonna do you a favor. There's shipping crisis and supply crisis, supply chain. I did it. I said, Ricky, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna take your car off your hand. It's fine. I got you. I'll pay the shipping fees. I'll pay the gas, $3 here in Florida. Thank you. I'll pay for the shipping. You just ride your horse around in Bakersfield. We'll be okay. And I'll spot you the $700 extra, so you don't have to worry about it, bro. So we'll call ourselves even.
But
I'll just send the new Mercedes over here to
Hey,
Florida.
Ricky, let me just say this one point. I think Trump is a release for people that are so fed up with some of the crap that's going
what I'm getting
on.
at.
So he goes and does a rally where he knows he's going to be embraced. And he still is a brand, but I think the times call for a very serious politician.
Of course.
And somebody that really, really has the best interests of the country at the heart and is smart and strategic and has a proven track record.
You
It's
don't
probably
think-
leaning towards
Do you not realize how much sense Tom Zenner is making these days?
Hold on. So
Tom has been indoctrinated into the common sense.
No, hold on.
anthem.
So the highest stock market in American history, lowest unemployment in
Right
American
now
history.
is the current highest stock market in American history.
Because
Right
it's
now,
inflation.
today.
Inflation. Without inflation, the highest stock market in American history, the lowest unemployment in American history, energy independent, lower tensions with Russia and North Korea. That's not a track record?
Look, I'm just
No
saying,
president's done it.
but there's the other side of that, which divides the country, and someone else can do what he does in a different style and
44
way.
other presidents haven't done it.
To me, this is what it comes down to.
I look at facts. 44 other presidents haven't done it.
Let me
Ricky,
ask
you're
you
the
this.
most irrelevant voter in America.
No, it's not.
Congratulations.
It's not about being irrelevant. It reminds me of the factions back in the day with like Jerry Falwell and stuff like that, where you'd have to go get the evangelical faction, right? The DeSantis voter, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Every single Trump guy, they can yell, scream. Every single Trump guy would vote for DeSantis.
100%.
There are people who voted for Biden who would vote for DeSantis.
Correct.
There's not
Yes.
not a one single Biden voter who would vote for Trump.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Do you understand what he just said, though?
I get, but you're not understanding what I'm telling you. I'm not a Trump guy.
Yeah, okay, sure.
No, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I like what he did because I look at the facts.
I think it was necessary as well.
Of course.
He was a
So
necessary evil.
bro.
in a lot
I
of
don't.
ways.
There's only one. There's
Or
only
necessary
one man
good or
that I idolize.
chaotic good,
There's
however you
only
want.
one man that I idolize, and that's God. Outside of that, I don't idolize another man. I don't. He's not my savior. I hustled. I was slinging weed when George Bush was president. Allegedly. When I was 13, I don't need a man to fix my life. But what I'm saying is to say that he didn't do a good job with this country is completely ignorant.
To say that he only did a bad job would be naive. But to say he only did a good job would be naive.
I'm not telling you that's not the
There's a gray area there, buddy.
I'm not telling you that's not the case. But in 44 presidents haven't been able to do what he did. That's
What do
the
you mean
fact.
44
The
presidents
lowest
haven't been able to
unemployment in
do what
American
Trump's done?
history.
So you're basically saying Trump is the best president ever.
For what has another president been able to do that? I'm talking about specific topics. I'm not talking about he's the best human being in the world. Lowest unemployment in American history has never been done.
No, not
The
lowest
best-
in history.
the-
Lowest in 50 years.
No. If you look at it, especially with the Hispanic and the black communities, it was the lowest in history. So what I'm telling you is this: when you look at the facts and you compare, if I have to go between Biden or Trump, but now if there's a DeSantis in the mix, of course DeSantis is going to be the best because he's going to win over people more. But right now we're not there. We're so extreme on both sides.
Pray that the Republican parties nominate someone like
I
DeSantis
hope
and not
so.
Trump.
By the way, DeSantis or
He will run
the one
away
from
in
Texas.
a heartbeat.
How useless is my libertarian party that in this area where
100%.
nobody wants a Republican or a Democrat, they can't even gain 5% of the vote.
I didn't hear what you just said.
If The
Say
Rock
that.
ran as a
What did you
libertarian,
just say?
I said, how useless is my libertarian party that in an era where literally nobody wants to vote Republican or Democrat, they can't even carry 5%
because they
of the
don't
vote.
have a marketable candidate.
Yeah.
That's all. They don't have a
look at
marketable
who you guys
candidate.
have run. Joe Jorgensen
Yeah.
and Gary Johnson over the last...
I like Gary Johnson, but yeah.
You like Gary Johnson.
I did like Gary Johnson.
All right, so I got okay, yeah, this is a good time to do it, and then we'll do the PS5. If you want to do that, we got a special surprise here for everybody before we wrap this up. And by the way, while you're doing that, do we have time to go into the story, the story that Tom and Adam, give us 2 minutes, Samvel. This is a story that we have to verify if this happened or not. So this is not a Snopes story. This is a Guardian Gazette story. Biden reportedly pooped his pants at the Vatican. Reports are broken out in Rome that state Joe Biden pooped himself while meeting up with Pope Francis. Rumors have been floating around that Rome that Biden unusual long meeting with the Pope wasn't because the two were best friends, but rather was a result of Biden having an accident. According to American journalist Jack Posobiec, The live stream of Biden and the Pope meeting was suddenly cut off when the two met, which raised many speculations. However, it was noted by the other sources on the ground in Rome that Biden had a bathroom accident. After the news broke out, users on Twitter created memes and even had Poopy Pants Biden trending on Twitter. Other users pointed out that Biden had different pants after meeting the Pope than he had on before meeting the Pope. According to Alex Jones, the host of InfoWars, Secret Service frequently reported Biden soiled himself. Jones reported on Biden being unable to control bowel movements came 2 weeks ago, but now it looks like his reporting isn't a conspiracy. After all, after the alleged accident, Biden looked very lost as world leaders gathered together at the G20 Rome summit. Photo op, Biden was lined up all the way to the left. Usually, the U.S. president stands in the middle, but Biden isolated himself from everybody and chose to stand off to the side. Do you think this happened, Adam?
I'm so hurt. I'm so hurt.
I'm not even going to give an opinion here. I'm just going to give. I've watched both CNN, MSNBC cover this, and I watched Fox News and apparently this Guardian. It amplifies how polar opposites we are living in this world right now. On one hand, they're showing images of Biden and the Pope getting along, best of friends. Look at these guys. They juxtapose that with how upset the Pope was with Trump or didn't have a smiley face on. They're basically showing how, all right, they're best of friends. That's great. And then you turn on
Happen both sides.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you turn on to the conservative media, and it's like, Biden shit his pants. It happened. Facts. He can't control himself.
I'm getting dizzy from the spin.
It's like
dizzy from the spin here.
So guys, go ahead. Be children and comment on this story. Go ahead.
Do you think?
Go ahead, children.
That it is. Adam Sauce calling on people children. That's hilarious. Do you think that it's a bad thing that it's completely and totally plausible?
Yes.
Whether it happened or not.
Right.
Do you think it's a bad thing that is completely and totally plausible that the leader of the free world shit his pants in front of the
There
Pope?
isn't one person that doesn't think that is probably happened.
Did it happen?
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's like saying, do you think Trump got pissed on by a bunch of prostitutes?
It's not like saying that at all.
I think that's actually more likely. Trump getting pissed on
It's
by a bunch of prostitutes.
It's very likely, but I'm not hurt about it. You're hurt about it.
I'm not hurt about it.
First of all,
I'm just saying that
your feelings are hurt.
In all fairness,
I'm good. Zero relevance.
In all fairness to Poopy Joe, may he who hath not sinned cast the first stone. I've pooped my pants.
Unbelievable.
I've pooped my pants.
There it is. There's the short clip right now.
I've pooped
Gerard
my
is
pants.
full on admitting that he's a poopy pants.
Here's the deal. It wasn't when I was dressed in. I had the flu and I was stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the New Jersey Turnpike, and I had literally no other options. I wasn't so excited to see the Pope that I shit myself, but. You know, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe who's a superstar? Maybe if I got a chance to meet Johnny Bench, I'd shit myself too. I don't know. Like maybe
this is where we're at right now.
He who hath not sinned. Exactly. This is where we're at right now. That the leader of the free world met the leader of one of the largest religious sects in the world and was like, maybe, and it's completely plausible.
Yeah, I think.
And then you took a page out of his book and admitted that you do the same.
Hey, may he who hath not sinned. Me, every infant on earth, Pat's new puppy, and the President of the United States.
There you go.
We just let it fly whenever we need to.
It's all shits and giggles, bro. It's all good.
It's all shits and giggles until somebody giggles and shits himself, right?
Yeah, it's all shits and come on, man.
It's very
It's okay though. No mean tweets though. No mean tweets. So Orange Man's still bad. That's
Wow.
Gerard,
what do you think?
You're
What do you
never
think
going
about this
to
story?
alleviate the story from your life
I think
now.
it's a metaphor for his presidency. I think it's.
As Virginia goes, the rest of the country goes. Yeah. Adam, why does this bother you so much?
It doesn't bother. I just think
very clearly bothers
I think it's like we're having so many intellectual conversations. We're actually having a good debate, and it's like let's end with a shit story.
Yeah.
You don't think it's weird that everybody in the world literally believes that this guy could have shit him pants?
Well, here's the
that's
bigger
hyperbolic.
question.
Everybody in the world, right?
We all think it probably did happen, but why can't you just excuse yourself and go find a restroom, for God's sake?
Don't
You're in
you
the
think
Vatican.
that probably
number
happened?
One. Well, number
He
two.
had to use the restroom.
Number two. I have a
He
problem
wasn't
with
stuck
him.
in a car like Gerard.
I have a problem with him nodding off. At that other meeting. I mean, take this.
That is actually true. I have a bigger problem with that.
No kidding. But it's a metaphor for everything. Every day there's something about him that just doesn't seem presidential, and we're the ones that are suffering because of it as a country.
What am I doing here?
Didn't they say that literally about Trump every day? Doesn't seem presidential. I'm going to be so presidential when I get elected.
Yeah, who's they?
Yeah.
The
But
people
this
that
goes
were
back to my
actively trying to
point.
get rid
Can
of
we
him.
get Biden and Trump out of office and get someone actually credible in there? Stop it with the Trump
Adam,
nonsense.
I need you to admit right now on air that the guy you voted for shit himself.
I'll admit that you just admitted that you shit yourself on the regular.
You've never shit yourself.
Not since I'm a grown-up.
Really?
When I was 4 years old,
Not
maybe.
one time you've never pooped your pants. Not a heavy shart.
This guy.
Not all that tuna
Pat,
that
you asked. This is where we're at right now.
This is your topic.
This is where we're at right now.
All right, so this is great.
Can we get some Pampers for Gerard and Joe Biden while we're at it?
Look,
This seems to be quite the shit show.
there you go.
you.
Kai's officially comedian. Good. Kai, that was impressive. Good for you. Okay, all right, so let's do the last one here, and then let's do the cake first. Okay, bring it in here. Let's take a look at this cake. I haven't seen the cake yet myself, by the way. So 100-episode
We
cake.
want that
Let's see
cake,
what this
cake,
thing
cake,
looks
cake.
like.
Great
Who made it?
conversation
Is this the one that Adam made, or
Oh, man.
look at Mario?
Mario. Hey,
in
Mario.
the house. Mario, if you drop it, I swear to God,
Hey, Mario.
Looks good.
Wow.
it actually does look good.
That looks incredible.
It actually does look legit. Wow.
Nice job.
Congratulations, everybody.
I like it, Adam. What do you think?
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, Poopy Pants. Happy birthday, dear PBD podcast.
Mickey got it.
Let's do 100
Thank
more
you,
of these, baby.
Mickey.
Wow, that is a beautiful cake.
Consider me Joe Biden.
This is the 100th episode. The next one that we're going to celebrate at this level, you know which one's going to be? The additional 0. Is it 500 or 1,000? Is it 500?
I think you can celebrate 500.
Okay,
That's pretty big.
we'll do 500. We'll celebrate. Go ahead, put the do it. Let's see what's going to happen here.
We couldn't have Caroline do this for the views? How did Sam get this job?
Unbelievable.
I thought we were,
The
I thought
fact
we were
that Sam
solving
isn't
for
wearing a
views
vest
here.
on the 100th episode is actually disrespectful.
Extremely. Extremely.
Sam helped to put together the podcast in the beginning.
Nobody cares about that. What they care about is vests.
There you go.
Really? Sam helped put it together. By the way, Sam, bring your haircut. Let's see if we can get thumbs up or down. Come show your haircut. Everybody, he says he got the Ronaldo haircut. Can you show it to everybody? Let them see it. Go a little lower. You need light. Look straight at the camera. Look straight at the camera. Okay. Ladies, he is not single. Okay.
Oh, is that official now?
Gosh.
What's up, Sam?
You are single or no? Yes. You are single.
Oh.
Wait, yes or no?
What's
Hey.
going on at lunch, lady land?
Yes or no? Okay, complicated.
Translation: She listens to the podcast.
Hi, let's sing Happy Birthday and then give away the
Whose birthday
PlayStation
is
5.
it?
It's the 100th episode that we're doing.
My bad.
Because I don't know how long has it been. Is it a year? What's the first podcast, by the way, date
Probably
wise?
July, I'm assuming.
Yeah, July. I think you guys started last year.
Wow. Okay. On
Shout out to our
Pull it
old
up
friend, JF, Josh.
who loves you, by the way.
Yeah, we're
Comments
good
about
friends.
your stuff all the time. On 3, 1, 2, 3.
August 4th.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear podcast. Happy
Yes.
birthday to you.
Yes.
Go ahead. You want to blow or you want to do this by
Who's
yourself?
blowing? You're blowing.
Am I blowing? We're going to blow on here. Bring it over here. All right, this was fantastic.
So
man.
all right. So we did Joe Biden. Now we're doing Kamala Harris.
All right, there you go.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Guys, here's to another 100. Here's to another 500. Here's to another 1,000.
Good job, fellas. Good job. Good job.
Where's Willie?
This was great. This was fantastic. Tom, Gerard, Ricky, Adam. The last thing we got to do is Samvel, come and tell us and show us who's going to win the PlayStation 5. This is your last chance, folks. By the way, a lot of good comments here tonight about what today, about what the podcast is doing. A couple things I do want to tell you guys while we're going through this. We are in the process of buying a building. We were going to buy 2 buildings. One of the offers, the other guy came in and closed. I don't know what it was at $459, and if that offer was going to drop, we were going to buy this building at $15 million. But we did end up buying another building, and the new podcast set will be coming out here soon, pending glass showing up from China, which is a whole different literally. But one of the things we're thinking about doing with the podcast is we're going to set up the podcast set in a way where we may do a live podcast once a month where people can buy a ticket, come and actually watch the podcast live. I think that'd be real sick to have an audience there doing it together. And then we may be going to 3 episodes a week. The key word in that sentence is a very technical word. It's may. We may be going. And what we are talking.
What he means is in May we will go.
In May.
But what? And the
We
whole,
didn't say what year.
but the biggest thing is we may test out doing the Tuesday, Thursday episode. We may test out a Friday afternoon episode for just to see how that's going to do. Whether it's going to be 3 or 5 or 4 to 6, we don't know yet. But we may test out something that's going to be on a Friday afternoon. Go ahead, Gerard.
Let me ask you before you wrap up. The You're 100 episodes in. Has this turned into what you expected it to be? What have you learned along the way? Has the audience been there? Like what? Yeah. What's this experience been for you?
Let me tell you what I love about what happened, Tom. You good?
Nothing.
You were making some weird noises there.
No, it's like happy trails, right?
Yeah.
What was the journey?
But no, I will tell you this. It's a great question. I will tell you that what this has done, the podcast has done, is it has created an open platform for us to talk about real issues that people are thinking about, but you're told by society that you shouldn't talk about these things. I like talking about stuff that people don't want to talk about. I'm interested in that. And I think these things we talk about, there's an audience for it. The most important thing about what we're doing is the fact that there's an audience that wants to hear this kind of discourse from a former, Ricky Aguilar who lived a different life, Michoacan, to now being a successful businessman. He and his wife run a very successful multi-million-dollar a year business for themselves. From a former comedian, currently still a comedian, but a guy that worked on Chris Christie's camp, was a former professional athlete, fighter, MLB, sitting here from Jersey. You're bringing your opinions there. Tom Zenner, who every time you talk to Tom, you learn something new about the guy. He was there for the Last Dance at every single day. Married guy with 2 kids from California. Tom Ellsworth, who's been in the different industries with tech, has had many different successes. Strong father, strong family, from a devout Jewish handsome man who's a cat supporter, cat convention, out here, who's thinking about getting married before 70 years old, who has his own strong opinions.
We're working on that.
We're working on. You are not working on that, man. Listen,
I am working on that. Literally,
I would put over under what that. I would actually put some money on the over under for age. I would put some real money. And if the wedding happens, if I lose, I fund your entire wedding. How about that? If I will fund your entire wedding if I get the age right.
Okay, what's the age?
He'd get married
what
just
are you
to
right
get
now?
it for free.
What are you right
Do
now?
it for the party.
40.
You're 40 right now?
Yeah.
You get married before 43, I pay for your wedding.
I'm the type of guy that would get married just to save that money.
You get married before
ASAP.
I do your wedding. I do it at the house. I'll bring yachts. I'll do anything you want for you before.
Now you're talking my language, man. Ladies out there. All ladies. Exactly. Next lady in the super chat. Spin the wheel. I'm marrying the first person. Spin the wheel. I'm marrying whoever it is. Guy, girl, cat. I don't care.
By the way, can you imagine he actually gets married before 43 and I'm at the wedding, I'm giving a speech. I'm like, listen, I funded this. I made the biggest mistake saying yes, but anyways.
Worst investment.
But here's the thing. Hang on a second. If it's after 43, then what? What do I get? Because that's what you got to say to the public as well. If it's after 43.
I only like one side of this equation.
No. It's not how this works.
I don't know.
If it's not 43, what is it?
I guess I got to fund my own wedding.
I'm a risk. I got a risk here because to me, if you get married,
I pay for Dylan's wedding when he grows up. I'll have time to work on
it's going to be pretty big. He's Middle Eastern. It's going to be like a $600,000 wedding.
I'm making it rain.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, anyways.
Who do you think gets married first, Gerard or me?
Or Dylan?
Right. There we go.
Dylan.
Who do I think between you and him? I'm probably going Gerard.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah, I am. But for different reasons. I'm going with Gerard, okay? And I don't think neither one of you guys want to get married anytime. You do want to get married.
I would put your money on me over Gerard.
I don't know.
Someone's gonna have to agree to marry that guy. You gotta understand.
I think there's a line. I think there's
Look
plenty
in the
of people
mirror,
that would.
Catman.
No, I think so. Anyway,
This guy.
But
the fact that somebody agreed to marry you willingly is beyond. I cannot picture you, in bed at all. I feel like, here's that case study time, baby. All right, bust out that triangle, that calculator. We're gonna put some degrees on this thing. I just can't.
I guarantee you, he's done more research on that than you have.
Yes,
I guarantee you, he has done way
field
more
research.
Predictive analytics at 7 minutes and 48 seconds.
I will say the BizDoc has pulled it off. The BizDoc babe is dope. She's great. She's cool. You outkicked her coverage, buddy.
Much respect.
FYI, every night his kids call him just to talk to him before he goes to sleep, no matter what part of the world he's in. This guy's a winner at the highest level.
Yeah, because they want to get
Gerard,
some of that
I'll tell you one other
inheritance.
thing. I'll tell you one other thing about this whole thing with the podcast is you don't have to interview somebody that's like, it's just we're coming together as friends and having conversations together. So, okay, what are you thinking about it? So, pretty excited about the next thing we're doing. Some of the announcements that we'll be making here soon. Going to be exciting. But this
Before
was a
we
blast.
leave, can we give a shout out to the production team over here? Eric, David, Jorge.
They did a great job.
Doing there.
They did a
Kai,
great job.
like Sam made it happen today. 6 of us. I know they put a lot of work in here.
Paul got a shout out today. Paul got a shout out for the fish. Tom gave you a nice little shout out about you
fish shout out.
bringing fish. But yeah, the
leftovers.
team did a great job. Everybody did a great job. Thank you for your help. Having said that, let's do the last raffle. We got the PlayStation 5 here to send to you. And by the way, people want the whole thing to be signed, so we'll all sign it with a Sharpie and send it out to you. So you already have it? Oh, it's going already. Holy!
If Gerard wins this thing.
How sick are the value-tainers, man? Look at this thing.
Lisa H. Lisa H. won the PlayStation. PlayStation 5 is going to Lisa H. Hopefully you wanted this PlayStation. It's coming to you. If you didn't want the PlayStation, somebody you know very closely is going to be very happy that you're getting this. FYI, it's going to be pretty hard to find this. We had a hard time finding this. We had to kind of buy it. I don't know how we even got
even
the hands
the
on
Apple
this.
13 you can't find it.
No. We got it, but our audience is getting it. So pretty happy to see this taking place. Gang, having said this, this is the 100th episode officially coming to an end. The next one we'll be doing, are we doing podcast next Tuesday? Am I in town next Tuesday or no? Next Tuesday. We are doing podcast next Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend. Everybody subscribe to the channel and looking forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.